Auraspeaks, Bala.
Sure. Check. Yeah. So we spoke about giving, receiving, enabling, empowering. I just want to refer to something that happened and the whole world knows, right? Jews, Holocaust, and today they are in the top 3 percentile of the economic group. Now, I was tired of one thing. I'm happy to do it again and again, and I'll be doing it all through my life. We ask, we have, we give, we enable, we empower. Instead of this cycle, we thought all persons with disabilities should have an opportunity to make money. In India, only 0.4% of the total community is having economic independence, either through employment or through money from the family or in some form. So what was the most easiest project and what was the most difficult project? There were like 3 or 4 things that Ableaura is going to do in that lines. So the first one is Auraspeaks. I know we ticketed this event. I know we, even though like a lot of value, the reason I came after the first speaker was, I wanted you to experience that first. Then I thought, let me explain why we are doing this in this format. There's a point of view from a person with disability. For example, or a visually impaired person or a challenged person, when he picks a partner, அவங்களோட parameters, அவங்களோட checkpoints, அவங்களோட conversations வேற மாதிரி இருக்கும். We have a lovable couple in our office, Azish and Ovia. So, sorry, போட்டு கொடுத்துட்டேன். So, like that, we learned a lot from working with these people actually. There is a point of view of technology. All the touchscreens that we are using today came from the disability community. The first touchscreen was manufactured for the disability, and then from there, Steve Jobs took it, put it on a phone, and then today we are all using it. So whenever it is an universal design, it's very good for business. We wanted that point of view to come out. This is 16% of the population. Come do business with us. This is 16% of the population. Take our ideas. This is 16% of the population. Take our knowledge. This is 16% of the population that can change India. That's a significant number. So Auraspeaks is about giving a stage to people who have this knowledge, who has done something in life, who's going to do something in life, and we'll be always ticketing this event. So that we can cycle that fund into the foundation, and then, use to enable, empower, create more souls, like Shiva Parvati, whom I spoke about, to kind of, come up in life, and one day she'll be here too. So thank you. That's why we are doing Auraspeaks.
Please stay.
Okay.
Don't go.
As you say.
Thank you. I'd like to invite somebody very special to me and very special to this event also onto stage. But first, I'm going to introduce them. They're, of course, the chief guest of today's event. You've all heard of warrior poets? Men who went to battle, men and women who went to battle and wrote poetry. Basically, who did creative things at the same time, who were very, very brave. And they were good at both. And these warrior poets are things of legend. Or are they? Because we do have somebody who is a true warrior and poet among our midst. He's a warrior who battles in the field of medicine against things unknown and wins. He's a creator whose books have been published and enjoyed by so many. We know him as the person who first set up the first stem cell unit here. We know him as somebody who is one of the leading experts in laparoscopic surgeries, having done more than 26,000 of them. We know him as a surgeon par excellence. We know him as synonymous with Lifeline Hospitals. I'd like to welcome our chief guest today and my very dear friend, Vaidya Ratna, Dr. J.S. Rajkumar, onto stage.
Please.
It's my pleasure to have you. It's our pleasure to have you here. we would like to present you with a memento of Ableaura's love and affection. Paintings. A painting by a person with a disability from Dore Foundation. And without.
Thank you. Okay.
Of course, the stage is all yours. If you'd like the dais or this mic, we would love to hear your chief guest's address to all of us.
Thank you so much, Mamti and Bala Shiva, for having invited me. I want to start by apologizing that I double booked and triple booked, and I was stuck on stage elsewhere, and I came in late. As Mamti, we're like twins, as charming as ever. First of all, I want to say, as a doctor, as a businessman, and now recently as a politician, this is a type of program that we need. Now, if you go through the YouTube or you go through, yesterday I was in, again, 3 functions back to back. It was either one group hammering the other group or the other group hammering this group. What is disability? If 16% of the people are disabled, now they're going to make it 16.5%, because even if a teacher asks a difficult question to an 8th standard student, he will say, I have Nenjivali in Solli Big Kaveri la Paduthuman. That is also a form of disability. We need to get out of that negative aura of simply chucking stones at each other. Move out from there and assume responsibility for the people around us. I mean, I heard Aishwarya speak. I would welcome all of you to come into politics. Indeed, if the 16% of disabled people in Tamil Nadu form a political group, adichi summa vera level ku thukidla. They should come in. Yaru solranga ivanga varakudadu? Yaru solranga ivanga vote podakudadu? Yaru solranga ivanga vandu ஒரு political party varakudadu, அரசியல்ல varakudadu? பாரதியார் ரொம்ப அழகா சொன்னார். பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு. Whole world தமிழ்நாடு மாதிரி அதோட வளமும் அழகா இருக்காது. ஆனா இந்த காலத்துல பாத்தீங்கன்னா அது வந்து பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடா இருக்கு. அண்ட் அந்த பாருக்குள்ள கூட 100 ரூபாய்க்கு வாங்கி 500 ரூபாய்க்கு விற்கிறாங்க. அந்த 500 ரூபாய்க்கு வந்து மக்கள் கொடுக்கும் பொழுது, the point I'm trying to make, it's really a very lengthy preamble. Why can't people like Bala ticket a program like this? 100 ரூபாய் பியருக்கு 500 ரூபாய் கொடுக்குறாங்க. I don't know whether it's 400 or 500, but it's some obscene number, I'm told. I haven't actually gone to these nasty places, but I'm told it's so high. கொடுக்குறானுங்க. ஏன் வந்து இது மாதிரி ப்ரோக்ராமை டிக்கெட் பண்ணக்கூடாது? இது மாதிரி ப்ரோக்ராம் மட்டும் ஃப்ரீயாக வரணும். ஆனால் அங்கே மட்டும் பாருக்குள்ளே நல்ல நாடு மட்டும் ஹையாக போகணும். ஸோ we need to change that. And the time has now come for us to start thinking aloud with our thoughts, with our words, with our actions. So what about actions? As I apologize for having come late. As I said, I was in another meeting on stage and I couldn't pull out. I want to start by giving a small gift to both Aura as well as all the disabled people. So essentially, most of you know about artificial intelligence. It's based on multiple data points on which patterns are drawn. We have come up with an AI-based contactless sensor. It's an app, especially very, very useful for the disabled brothers and sisters among us. Especially, I was told 2 things I want to tell you. That this is the app that Annamalai ji and 1,000 other people are going to actually use on the Padayatra. You just have to stare at the phone in the app. If you stare at it, your pulse, your BP, your oxygen, your temperature, your respiratory rate, your stress level, your cholesterol, your hemoglobin, and your blood sugar, HbA1c, will all come out in 35 seconds. It will come out in 35 seconds. And you can do that over and over and over again. I'm just saying this again as a preamble because on the 28th of May, from Rameshwaram, Annamalai ji and 1,000 people are actually going to be wearing this so that while they're walking, we can monitor their pulse, blood pressure. People, especially I was told by Mamti that Bala is planning multiple sports places. This is the way to go. This is the way to go for Paralympics. In the Vati, you all know that India made a record level of medals in the Paralympics. But was it by design? No, it was by default. It was simply by default. நான் எங்கேயுமே பார்க்கலையே. நேரு ஸ்டேடியம் மாதிரி நான் 10 ஸ்டேடியமாக இருக்குது சென்னையில் ஃபார் டிசேபிள் பீப்புள். ஒன்றும் இல்லை. மால் இருக்குது, சினிமா தேட்டர் இருக்குது, இன்னும் புது புது படத்துக்கு பால் ஊற்றி செத்து போகிற இது ஃபேன்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. ஆனால் டிசேபிள் பீப்புளுக்கு நான் ஸ்டேடியம் பார்க்கவே இல்லை. Bala's going to do something like that, and I think that this is a wonderful thing that Aura is looking at, creating some sports centers, something like that for the disabled people, so that when India wins in the Paralympics, when this Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat comes, it will be by design, not by default. இது என்னமோ சும்மா 100 பேர் மந்தையை விட்டு அதில் நான் 15 பேர் வின் பண்ணிட்டு வந்தோம். நீங்கள் எல்லாரும் போகணுங்க. இங்கே இருக்கிற அத்தனை டிசேபிள் பீப்புளும் போகணும். Coming back to my artificial intelligence, I want to start by announcing 1,000 people. We'll fit in these apps for 1,000 people here who want to go into the Paralympics. We're doing it on subscription model, free for you. Tasmak mari nanichira poranga. This free da. We are doing it on a subscription model for the corporates at 3,000 rupees a year. We will happily make that first 30 lakh. We'll write off that first 30 lakh and give it for 1,000 people, chosen by, of course, Bala and Aura. You fix up when, where.
Thank you.
As a chairman of the company, making a commitment on that.
Thank you.
So, நீங்க ஸ்டேடியம் போறது வரைக்கும் வெயிட் பண்ண வேண்டாம். நாளைக்கு கூட நீங்க போட்டு விட்டா 28th we are launching, and 6th we're doing a 10,000 people. We're doing 10,000 villagers. We're doing a free master health checkup. It's a Guinness Book of World Records. 10,000 people in 2 hours, and the Union Health Minister is coming to launch the app. Immediately after that, we will put it for all of you. If God is our side, thank you, sir. Thank you for the one person who clapped. But if God, I'm just being my mean self. No, but I mean to say there's so much disability around us. 16% is high. I mean, there's so much of domestic violence around us. Do you know that in Chennai, domestic violence is 47.5%, especially after these TASMACs have opened up. We're all oblivious to that because we're in our own small, shrunk bubbles. Our own little movies, our own little clubs, our own little books, and our own little children. Over. There is more than this in the world. And this 47.5 domestic violence, we need to look at as well. Even in my house, there's domestic violence. My wife keeps beating me up. No, but I'm just joking. But I'm saying we need to address this 16% amongst us. And I think what Bala's doing, Bala and Balaji Kannan, I think, right? Both of you, it's a very, very good, wonderful thing. Now, what I'm saying is, make money in a good thing. You're putting a 16% of people, you're giving them a chance to play games, to go in for the Paralympics. You're trying to give them a chance, like Auraspeaks, to give them an initiative to open up. I'm so happy that there's a fairly good crowd, although this is ticketed. Instead of sitting at home and watching some serial in which every mother-in-law knows how to kill the daughter-in-law, every daughter-in-law learns how to kill the mother-in-law. Finished, over serial. So we need to get out of that rubbish, that opium of the masses that Karl Marx spoke about. We're all trapped in that opium of the masses, the idiot box. அதை பார்த்துக்கிட்டே இருந்து அடுத்த serial, day is done. இதான் பாரதியார் சொன்னாரு. Please don't live like that. Be like Bala Aura, be like Mamati, and be like these people. அவர் சொன்னாரு, தேடி சோறு நிதம் தின்று. எங்கேயாவது ஓசியா கிடைக்குதா டெய்லி? பல சின்ன சின்ன கதைகள் பேசி, தெரியுமாடா அவன் ஓடிட்டாங்களா, இவளோட ஓடிட்டான். காசிப். பல சின்ன சின்ன கதைகள் பேசி, பிறர் வாட பல செயல்கள் செய்து, மனம் வாட மிக துன்பம் மிக உடன்று, நரை கூடி, எனக்கும் நிறைய கூடி இருக்கு, பட்சமா நான் பூட்டில் பாலிஷ் பண்ணுறது வரை இங்கே போட்டுப்பேன் கொஞ்சம், அதனால தான் நிறைய கூடி கிழப்பருவம் எய்தி பின் கொடுங்கூற்றுக்கு இறையென பின் மாயும் பல வேடிக்கை மனிதர்கள் போல் வீழ்வேன் என நினைத்தாயோன்னு ஒவ்வொரு தமிழரும் நினைக்கணும். அது ரஜினிகாந்த் வந்து ஒரே லைன்ல வீழ்வேன் என நினைத்தாயா அவர் சொல்லிட்டாரு. பேட்டை இஸ் a good friend of mine. பேட்டை பணம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இல்சே வீழ்வேன் என நினைத்தாயோன்னு அழகாவே சொல்லுவார் அவர். பட் பாக்கி 8 லைன் இருக்கே, அது நம்ம படிக்கணுமே, உள் வாங்கணுமே, உள்ளுணர்வு. பாரதியாரோட கட்டுரைகள் எழுதியிருப்பாரு. there is a difference. அவன் சொல்றாரு, வித்தியாசம் இருக்கு. புரிதல், அறிதல், தெரிதல். You just know about something, it's அறிதல். You think more about it, learn more. What are the disabled, what are they doing? It's தெரிதல். அது நம்ம உள்வாங்கி அவங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது பண்ணணும்னு நினைச்சா அது வந்து ஒரு புரிதல். I think what you guys are doing is glorious. I'm all for having a good, commercially successful, wonderful initiative, because you are doing good to many people in that process. And please never stop ticketing these. That also I'll tell you in advance. Whenever we do it next time, we will bulk buy tickets for that also. I'm promising that also. எப்பயாவது ஒரு 100-200 பேர் கொண்டு உட்கார வச்சிருவோம் மாட்டோமா, சிங்கம் இல்லை அது ஒன்றா. We need that kind of social responsibility, active on the ground, boots on the ground, social responsibility. Another 3-4 minutes do I have? Mamati, are you going to boot me out or you can have another? Not yet. I just speak my heart out. I'm not planning anything. I'm just telling you, about 15 years ago, no, actually 17 years ago, when we opened our hospital in OMR, it was a bit of a risk. I took that risk. Roads weren't proper there at that point of time. People couldn't get to us. I refused money from politicians. And yes, after running it for 7-8 years, I was forced to give it on lease to Apollo because either the numbers just didn't match. You win some, you lose some. And I've learned so much more from my mistakes than from my successes. But what I'm saying is, we employed 15 children. 15 children. I say children, but they were all like 20, 24, 25. Autistic children from a place called Spaston. Are you all aware of that place? Yeah. Anybody from Spaston? Yeah? No, okay. So the word spastic is a very derogatory word. And you can have a case put on you in America if you call somebody either a spastic or a retard. But I drive by every day, Spastic Society of Tamil Nadu. It was named Andakalathu Admari. So we went there and we interviewed and took 12 or 15 boys, I think, who had various skill sets. I'm just saying how difficult, Mamti, it is to handle disability. And sure enough, as part our HR said, look, we're taking this. One guy was just smiling at everybody, lift boy. One guy could only cut. We put him in charge of cutting the gauze. One chap was sociable. We asked him to take the cups of tea around, cups of coffee around when people had. One chap could only count. He was happy counting for 24 hours. This is called neurodiversity. But when I employed these people at that point of time, and the term could have varla. Neurodiversity. He was only counting in the pharmacy, nothing else. I put him in. And then, of course, our HR called people and said, look, we're taking people from Spaston. All that the press could ask me over and over and over again was, are they above 18? Do their parents know? I got actually angry at one point in time. They're all 25, 30, but they used to come in scooters in the back of their parents. And many of the fathers used to come and cry to me. Sir, 10-15 varshama daily, like day school mari, crash mari poi drop antu vanda. Ippa he is earning, and the is earning 10,000 rupees for himself. But all that the press could say about it, you know what they say about the press? When a dog bites a man, it's just sad. When a man bites a dog, then the press is involved. You know, they want only that rubbish. So, when Indira Gandhi came down with the vice president for some inspection in Tamil Nadu, instead of writing Indira Gandhi comes down to the vice president, his name, unfortunately for her, was V.D. Jatti. So she said, Indira Gandhi, Jatti udan Tamil Nadu ku vandarne. Is that our press? I'm just saying, this is the truth. You can go and check it. It's all there on the net. I'm not saying anything that I cannot defend later. So anyway, I was assaulted, but we held on to those boys. And when we handed over to another institution, one of the last things I asked was, could you please let these boys continue? But you know how, Oscar Wilde said, God shows his contempt for money by the kind of people he chooses to give it to. So they said, yeah, of course we'll take them. And of course all the boys were shown the door and they all went back to being permanent residents at Spaston. That's a different story. But I'm happy having gone through the hassles of putting up disabled people with us. Either that or the other matter. People will say, the people will think, in their eyes you can see that you only did it for publicity. I'm giving them a life, I'm giving them a salary, I'm making their parents happy. And that's what I'm telling you, Bala. People will ask you whether you're simply making money. You say, why the hell not? You struggle, you'll make 3 crores. Come to TASMAC, 44,500 crores. More than any Ambani or Adani venture, TASMAC has made it. It's causing 1,500 deaths every month because of liver disease. Still it's going on. It's costing 47.5% domestic violence. Still it's going on. When all that is going on, good initiatives like this should be ticketed. Good people like this should be supported. And I promise you, with whatever little bit I can, we will continue our support. We will put that 1,000 apps on the 1,000 people that you choose. And God willing, after 6th of August, if my app takes off, and if I at last start seeing the color of money, I promise you one of my first investments, I'm making a public announcement, will be in this. Because I always wanted to do it with disabled people. I promise you, and I'd like to go down on paper for saying this, one of our first investments will be with you. But first, before I invest, I have to get money. No? I'm about a month away. Give me some time. I'm doing some multiple vitamins and multiple prayers are happening. Let's see what happens. I want to finish. Tamil la peshlama? No, you still want? Tamil. Wonderful. Bharatidasan Sonnara. After like Mamati, I always say we are twins, like brother and sister. After going through Bacon and Shelley and Byron and Shakespeare, I finally settled the beauty the multiplicity, the versatility of Tamil. Amazing, amazing. That is why, and I'm saying this because I know many of the disabled people have come with their parents or with their guardians. That is why in France, when Narendra Modi chose to say something to the whole world, he said he wants to put a statue of Thiruvalluvar. உடனே நம்ம ஆளுங்க தெரியுமா அவர் அரசியல் பண்றாரு அவர் வந்து திருவள்ளுவர் சொன்னாலும் அரசியல்ங்கிறீங்க, புறநானூறு சொல்றாரு அவர் அரசியல். And he said, what's the most beautiful thing he said? I was looking at Aishwarya and I was thinking that ஈன்ற பொழுதில் பெரிதுவக்கும் தன் மகனை சான்றோன் என கேட்ட தாய். ஒவ்வொரு அம்மாவும் second century when Thiruvalluvar wrote that, getting a boy was good, getting a girl was not so good. Second century obviously. And அப்போ வந்து when a boy is born, a mother is relieved and happy. அதோட ஈன்ற பொழுதில் பெரிதுவக்கும், she's happier when she sees that her son is a சான்றோன். சான்றோன் என்ன டெஃபினிஷன் வரையறைன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா புறநானூறுல சான்றோன் என்பவன் தன்னுடன் தன்னலமற்ற சமுதாயத்துக்காக உழைப்பவன் தான் சான்றோன். It's an extremely rare commodity in modern day politics, but even தான் சான்றோன். And many of you people who are, I saw Aishwarya and I saw all these people as I came in, the people who have come with you will be really proud and happy, ma. And it's a job of people like us to support people like Aura. And it's a job of people like Aura to keep places like that running so that you people can train, play table tennis, play whatever you want, and come up and represent the country. I'm going to finish up with my favorite poem said in the 2nd century BC, 210 BC, by a great king of the Pandya dynasty. கடலில் மாய்ந்த பெரும் வழுதி. கடலில் இறந்து போனான் வாருக்கு போகும்போது. இந்த பொன்னியின் செல்வனில் காட்டுறாங்கல்ல, அது மாதிரி போய் he died. And he wrote, உண்டால் அம்மா இவ்வுலகம். அம்மா இந்த உலகம் இதனால தான் சுத்திட்டு இருக்கு, இதனால தான் மழை பெய்யுது, இதனால தான் நாற்று நட்டு களை வருது, இதனால தான் நெல்லெல்லாம் பயிர் விளையுது. உண்டால் அம்மா இவ்வுலகம் இந்திரனே வந்து அமிர்தம் ஏய்ந்திரும். இந்திரனே வந்து உனக்கு அமிர்தம் கொடுத்தாலும் தமிழனை பத்தி சொல்றோம். Why we should think of the society rather than us? Why we should not spend time stacking away 1,50,000 crores or whatever into small accounts? இந்திரனே வந்து கொண்டாலும் இனிது என்று கொண்டு தமியரும் உண்டிலர். இது அனதரா இருக்கு, இந்திரன் கொடுத்தான் தனியா சாப்பிட மாட்டானா தமிழன், எப்பவுமே காக்கை போல் பகிர்ந்து என்றார் பாரதியார். அப்படி this is written in 210 BC. It goes on like that. He says துஞ்சிலர், நீங்க எல்லாரும் non-stopper, you must work. I know you are working, people who get into sport, etc. That's called tunjilar. Tungama work பண்றாங்க. Tunjilar, munivilar, they won't get frustrated. I know Aishwarya was saying how easy it will be to get frustrated when you can't see and you have to make a movie. You need to get past that. Like Nelson Mandela wrote in a book called Long Walk Home. He wrote 27 and a half years that book took to write. 27 and a half years. He wrote it in prison. 4 times the book was torn up, urinated upon by all the prison guards and thrown off. Again he started from page 1. And that's the book in which she quoted him and saying it doesn't matter however many times you fall. What matters is that you have the guts to get up again. And I think every one of you, இது வரைக்கும் வந்திருக்கீங்க, இது வரைக்கும் ஸ்டேஜ் ஏறீங்க, இது வரைக்கும் பேசுறீங்கன்னா you've been there, you've done that, you've gotten there. So இவர் சொன்னார் முடிவில், I was going back to கடலில் மாய்ந்த இளம்பழுதி. How he ends by saying the world is good because தனக்கென்று முயன்றான் ஓந்தாள் பிறர்க்கென்று முயன்றவர் உண்மைதானே. Not only do they work for themselves with their strong powerful legs, known talna, strong legs, and come up, but they also do for the rest of the world. And this is why the world goes round. The world goes round and things are still good despite some bad people because of good people like the initiatives that people like Bala are taking. And the initiative போதுங்க, அது பின்னால கொஞ்சம் காமர்ஸ் தான் இருந்துட்டு போகுது, அது என்ன தப்பு? BPO பண்றாங்க, அந்த காமர்ஸ் இருந்துட்டு பண்ணிட்டு போட்டு. I'm very happy what Zoho is doing. Tenkasiல so many people are getting, anybody from Zoho here? You guys are from Zoho. I know that Tenkasi, so many guys are working there. I'm so proud. Oh, you're from Zoho. Oh, I think I met your brother. Oh, you are Zoho. I met Mr. Younger Zoho. Okay, I'm very proud of what you're doing because in a different way I want to do the same thing, much smaller, minus a few zeros. But we need to have, அது என்ன தப்பு? காமர்ஸ்னா உடனே தப்பா? ஒரு டாக்டர் வந்து லைஃபை சேவ் பண்றான், அது கொஞ்சம் மணி இருக்கு, அது எப்படி தப்பா இருக்கும்? அதே போல what you're doing is a wonderful thing. Thank you. Commercially, socially and spiritually, I wish you all the very best. And I say, and my last line is, வெறும் லாவோட்ஸே சொன்னார், வெறும் மூச்சு விட்டுட்டு இருக்கிறவன் மனிதன் இல்லை, மூச்சு இருக்கிற வரைக்கும் முயற்சி செய்யறானே அவன் தான் மனிதன். And congratulations to every one of you who are in that position, and to Bala and Aura and to Mamati. Thank you all again, and sorry again I was a little bit late.
Thank you so much, Doctor. குரலுக்கு குரல், மதிநுட்பம் நூலோடு உடையார்க்கு அதிநுட்பம் யாவள முன்னிற்பவை. அறிவு, தன்னறிவு, சுய அறிவு, பிறப்பறிவு, அது படிப்பறிவோடு கலந்து பிரகாசிக்கும் பொழுது வேற என்ன தடை அவங்க முன் நிற்க முடியும்? இது கண்டிப்பா அவருக்கு வரவேற்கும் பொழுது சொல்லணும்னு நினைச்சேன். ஆனா தமிழையும் சிந்தனையும் தாராள மனதையும் கேட்டுட்டு நிறைவுல சொல்லலாம் அப்படின்னு ரிசர்வ் பண்ணி வச்சிருந்தேன். தேங்க்யூ so much, டாக்டர் ராஜ்குமார். I'm very happy for Ableaura because for this initiative this year, we have a sponsor. And that's a step up from where we began, from where Bala and Balaji began. And when you have sponsors, you all know this. What happens? Ideveliku pin sandipom, because now is a commercial break. And it's a break for Nitya too. Mute, please.
Jyoti, a child with disability, is a wheelchair user who dreams of a life like all the other children around. Jyoti had a lot of dreams and wanted to do a lot of things, but was mostly stuck in the bed with her mother Jaya, taking care of her. The opportunities were not accessible and affordable. One night, Jyoti had a beautiful dream. She saw all the things she always wanted to do. That's playing with her friends in the open, traveling and experiencing life like her friends do. Ableaura brings a new light of hope for Jyoti. And together with Ableaura, she relives her dream as a reality. There are many more Jyotis who have similar wishes. Join, give a wish campaign and empower a child. A child with disability is a wheelchair user who dreams of a life like all the other children around. Jyoti had a lot of dreams and wanted to do a lot of things, but was mostly stuck in the bed with her mother Jaya, taking care of her. The opportunities were not accessible and affordable. One night, Jyoti had a beautiful dream. She saw all the things she always wanted to do. That's playing with her friends in the open, traveling and experiencing life like her friends do. Jyoti, a child with disability, is a wheelchair user who dreams of a life like all the other children around. Jyoti had a lot of dreams and wanted to do a lot of things, but was mostly stuck in the bed with her mother Jaya, taking care of her. The opportunities were not accessible and affordable. One night, Jyoti had a beautiful dream. She saw all the things she always wanted to do. That's playing with her friends in the open, traveling and experiencing life like her friends do.
I'm going to do something that normally people don't tend to do. I'm going to take a break in the break and call everybody back to their seats.
She relives her dream as a
Folks, guests, and all our special invitees here, I would request you all to take your seats. If your friends and family are outside, please do ask them to join us back here. I'd like to also remind you, in the ad break, 2 நிமிஷம் 3 நிமிஷம் maximum அவ்வளவுதான் இருக்கும். பெரிய பிரேக்கா இருக்காது. அதனால நம்ம பழைய காலத்துல டிவி எல்லாம் பார்க்கும் பொழுது ஆட் வந்த வேற வழி கிடையாது. ஃபார்வர்ட்லாம் பண்ண முடியாது, ஸ்கிப் எல்லாம் பண்ண முடியாது. அது போல தான் இது. But it's only a couple of minutes each. So please do call your friends and family who've stepped outside to refresh themselves so we can continue with our program. எப்போது நம்ம வீட்டில் இருந்த அந்த பழக்கம். Hital, is Jayashri back in? Can you ask her to come back in, please? Ms. Jayashri Ravindran. 3 people. Yeah, so have you called your family and friends back? Did you get a break? Yes. Great. Do I have Ms. Radha Ramesh here? Ms. Radha Ramesh, I'd like to invite you onto stage. இவங்களுக்கு more than 30 years of working experience, வெவ்வேறு projects for persons with disabilities la irukku. She's a consultant. ஆசிரியருக்கும் பெற்றோருக்கும் இந்தோனேஷியால இருந்து பப்ளிக் ஒர்க்ஸ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட், பிலிப்பீன்ஸ், ஜார்க்கண்ட்ல இருந்தும் கேரளால இருந்தும் இவங்க எல்லாருக்குமே பல ஆண்டர்பிரினியோரியல் ப்ராஜெக்ட் செட்டப் பண்ண ஹெல்ப் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. At the same time, she's a consultant. She's an access consultant for Twin Enterprises and National Summit for Parents, NIEPMD la ivanga she's presented her paper also. Voice and Vision la guest lecturer. Ms. Radha Ramesh, can I have you on stage, please? There you are. Oh, you snuck up behind me. I would also like to call on Ms. Jayashri Ravindran of Hetal has found her. She's just stepped out. Ms. Ravindran, நம்ம எல்லாருக்குமே ரொம்ப நல்ல பரிச்சயமான ஒருவர். She's the founder and honorary director and honorary executive director of Ability Foundation. Ability Foundation oda என்னோட பிணைப்பு பல ஆண்டு காலத்துக்கு இருக்கு. It's an initiative that is very dear to my heart. I would like to invite Jayashri Ravindran also onto stage. And I'd like to invite Ms. Srilata Krishnan onto stage. She is a poet, எழுத்தாளர், கவிஞர், மொழிபெயர்ப்பாளர். She's an academic. அவங்க எழுதிய புத்தகம் This Kind of Child, a Disability Story. டிசபிலிட்டியோட பிரயாணிக்கும் அந்த பயணத்தின் மீது வெளிச்சம், அது உள்ள மனதளவில் நடக்கக்கூடிய சஞ்சலங்கள், உலக அளவில் நடக்கக்கூடிய பிரச்சனைகள், ஒரு கண்ணாடியா உள்மனதை ஆழ்மனதை ரிஃப்ளெக்ட் பண்ணி கொடுத்தது தான் அவங்களுடைய புத்தகம். பல விருதுகள் பெற்றது. அண்ட் அவங்களுடைய கவிதைகளுக்கும் தேசிய அளவிலும் சர்வதேச அளவிலும் பல விருதுகள் பெற்றவர் இவர். தேங்க்யூ ஃபார் பீயிங் வித் அஸ், மிஸ் கிருஷ்ணன். இவர் இருவருக்கும் I would love a round of applause, please. அடுத்து நம் ஜூரியால் தேர்ந்தெடுக்கப்பட்ட அடுத்த ஸ்பீக்கர் அவங்க தான் இப்போ மேடைக்கு வர போகிறாங்க. அவங்களுக்கு எங்கள் அன்புடைய பரிசை கொடுக்க தான் I've invited both these wonderful, inspirational ladies onto stage. அடுத்து வர இருக்கும் பேச்சாளர், she is a psychologist and an educator. கேரளாவிலிருந்து வர இவங்க ஒரு paraplegic. அவங்க என்ன வந்தாலும் என்னால் எதிர்க்க முடியும் எனும் திறனுக்கு ஒரு எடுத்துக்காட்டு, எல்லோருக்கும் ஒரு முன்னோடியாகவே இருந்திருக்காங்க. தனக்கு தானே பயிற்சி கொடுத்து பிரமாதமான ஒரு கலைஞராக திகழும் இவர் உலகில் இருக்கும் எல்லா அழகும் பர்ஃபெக்டாக இருக்கணும் என்பது கிடையாது. வாபி சாபின்னு ஜாப்பனீஸில் ஒரு கான்செப்ட் இருக்கு, இம்பர்ஃபெக்ஷனில் பியூட்டி தேடுறது. அதில் ஆழ்ந்த நம்பிக்கையுடைய நின்சி மரியம் மாண்ட்லி. லெட்ஸ் ஹேவ் யூ ஆன் ஸ்டேஜ் ப்ளீஸ். Can we have a painting from Dore Foundation and
thank you so much. So proud.
A certificate of being part of
I
the
believe you also have a role.
Ableaura family to be presented to her, please.
I'm a professional.
Thank you, Ms. Ramesh. Thank you, Ms. Krishnan. Oh, one more pose, please. No? Taking pictures with that? Yeah, please come back with the certificate. You've taken it? Yes. That's up. That's up to you.
I'll use this one.
Yes, you can use
I'm
that.
audible, right? So thank you, everyone. But before my father rushes down, I'd like to all of you, please note that that is my father. Okay, one of the most important persons in my life. The reason behind me being here today, not just him. I have my mother and a wonderful family, but he's here with me today. And I'd like all of you to give a big round of applause to caregivers like him. Okay, because at least for many of us, we are here in front of you because of what they do behind the scene. So a big thanks to all caregivers over here. What you do cannot be replaced, and for me, that is what keeps me smiling always. All right, so thank you for the wonderful introduction, and let's get started. Don't worry, I'm just acting. And if I did that well, that must have sounded something like fear. Okay, never mind. Let's just imagine. Imagine that you are in a dark room all by yourself and you cannot see anything. But you know that someone or something is out there to hurt you. Then your breathing would sound something like that, right? But imagine having to live your life breathing like that, living your life in fear, as though something bad can happen anytime now. Now, we might not be breathing frantically, but I believe most of us are living with one or the other kind of fear. So I'd be talking about fears and overcoming them up ahead. And I would like each one of you to reflect on your own fears, however small or big they are. But before I say anything more about fears, let me tell you what I mean by fear. Let's keep aside specific fears involving spiders, cockroaches, fear of heights or needles and all. Now, they are indeed very scary for some of us to the extent that they make our lives difficult. But very often, our fears are not as obvious as spiders are. In fact, we might not even know that we are doing something or not doing something because of some kind of fear. And that's why I want to talk about fears. The kind of fears that make us step away from doing things because we don't want to make mistakes, or it makes us remain silent because we don't want to say something foolish, or it makes us walk away from a person because we don't want to lose them. Let's say that you have someone in your life who's treating you unkindly, but you think to yourself, let me remain silent rather than starting a fight. Or let's say you have this long list of things to do, but even before you get started with them, you feel so anxious. Now, all of these thoughts, feelings, and even memories that stop you from doing things that matter are usually driven by fear. You are driven by fear. Now, let me show you what life would look like if you were driven by the fear of failure. Following the spinal cord injury that happened to me in 2014, I was paralyzed below my chest level. So, at the age of 19, I became wheelchair bound. Now, many of you over here would be able to relate to me very well when I say that it's really challenging to lead your life depending on others. Because on one hand, you get so frustrated because you cannot do the things that you want to do in your own way or at your own time. And on the other hand, there is a sense of guilt that you feel for having to trouble others always. So instead of going to college, I was stuck at home dealing with such emotions along with my physical challenges. And that is when a sense of being a failure rose in me. I started looking at all my plans that didn't work out. Not just the present ones, but even the past of like things I couldn't do in school. Maybe a competition I couldn't win, or the smart girl whom I couldn't beat in exams. All these small and irrelevant things from my past even came up. So basically, my mind started weaving together all my past and present failures and projected it into the future, saying that I will always be a failure. Let me repeat that once more. My mind started weaving together all these past and present failures and projected it onto the future, saying that I will always be a failure. Does your mind do that to you? Like when you're facing some current situation, it brings up things from your past even when they're not related. Such a messy place to be, right? And I was having all feelings of self-pity, criticizing myself, having failed my own expectations. You know, that is when kind of a failure, that sense rose in me. But you need to know that my life was not all about failures. Right from my childhood, I've had good moments in my life. I have achieved some things. But back then, when my disability turned my life upside down, all I could focus on was my failures. All these victories and achievements didn't come to my mind. My entire focus was on failures. And when your mind is set to find your failures, what happens is you end up feeling so miserable and worried almost always. Especially when you need to make decisions or set goals for achieving some things, because you start doubting yourself, questioning your own abilities, comparing yourself with others. And that is when this fear of failure, oh, what if I don't do this right, what if I don't get this right, comes in. So basically, this whole fear of failure, it forms in you not because you've failed all the time, but because you focus only on failures. Haha, that's easy to say, right? What do you do when you have had some real failures, real setbacks in life? Now, on this stage, in front of my fellow speakers, who may have gone through even more challenging situations in life than I have, I do not wish to dramatize and be sentimental about my own personal experiences. But just so that you understand what I'm talking about, let me give you some examples of roadblocks that I faced in my life and I felt like a failure. Now, there was a time when everything and anything could make me feel like that. But let's look at the major stuff, like maybe completing education and finding a job. In our society especially, choosing a course after 12th is such a major decision, right? It's like we upload a lot of plans and dreams onto this decision. So after 12th, even I made the bold choice of leaving home and doing a course of my interest. But because of my disability, I had to discontinue the course. And automatically, I blamed myself. I compared my situation with what my friends were doing and ended up feeling like a loser. But later on, I chose psychology as a course to do. And years later, I completed post-graduation in it. But then when I had to find a job, again, I found it challenging. Even still, I do. But when even after so many years, even when I am talking about overcoming fears right now, okay, even today, when I face these kind of challenges, my mind easily goes back to the same old story of, I am a failure, okay? So what do? Like, when you face that kind of challenges, okay, your mind starts weaving up all these things, right? But I tell you, over all these years, what has improved or developed in me is a kind of psychological flexibility. The ability to be flexible about your thoughts, to select or not select thoughts based on what helps you. Let me help you understand. So after my injury, I've always traveled along with my mother, but for this Chennai trip, she's not with me because of some medical reasons. So naturally, I got really worried. Okay, how will I handle this? How will I manage that? All sort of doubts and questions came up because she is my full-time caregiver right from 2014. Okay, so in her absence, how will I do all these things? And if I'd let those thoughts pile up, again, I'd go back to the old story of I am incapable. I cannot do anything by myself. I am a total failure. But it is my mother itself who reminded me that she told me that I can actually do a lot. I was actually doing a lot of things in my life on a daily basis by myself. Things have changed over these years. I'm more independent now. And my elder sister, she added that this will actually be an opportunity for me to try things by myself. And of course, I have my one of my strongest pillars with me, that is my father in this journey. So I started replaying these thoughts in my mind. Okay, I'm able to manage a lot of things by myself with minimal help. And traveling in the absence of my mother will actually give me the opportunity to understand my own strengths and weaknesses. And hey man, I get to spend some quality time with my handsome old man. What more can I ask for? So what I did was, can you see that the kind of thoughts I chose over the ones that I didn't, like I'm incapable, I'm a failure. Okay, rather than that, I started replaying these thoughts in my mind. So let's try to apply this whole choosing your thoughts, okay, that principle onto the fear of failure scenario. So I've had some experiences in my life where I felt like a failure, and this in turn made me afraid of failing in the future. And this whole fear of failure, it got worse or stronger as I focused only on my failures. But when I turned my attention to the times where I've succeeded in life, be it even small victories, when I turned my attention towards them, this whole fear of failure, it became weaker. So, this whole fear of failure, it became weaker. I'm not saying that it vanished, okay? But every time such a fear pops up, I can choose whether to think about my past failures or past victories. And that's how you practice psychological flexibility. Just like a physical muscle, the more you practice it, the better it gets. Now, while I've said all of this, if I made it sound like I did it all by myself in one step, let me correct myself. There is always God. God who showed me that love never gives up, love never loses faith, love is always hopeful, and it endures through every circumstance. And the best way I've understood this kind of love, or something even close to it, is from my family, who have held me up every time I fell down. And I have my friends, even today they are here, okay, my friends who talk about my abilities rather than my disabilities. So along with all of these people, I've taken all these years to understand and learn that I need to rejoice even in my smallest victories. And I tell you, it has taken me all these years. It was not a one-step thing, okay? So on a concluding note, I want all of you to look at your fears and remember that you are bigger than your fears of failures. Okay, the more you think about, the more you become aware of your own thoughts and you choose them wisely, the better it gets. And the more and more you do, you get better at it. So with that, I'd like to end my speech and thank Ableaura for giving me this opportunity, for giving me one more experience to remember the next time fear of failure tries to come in and scare me. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. That was a true inspiration. I am still sitting and wondering whether I will be able to function at 100% as before. And the fear and the anxiety and all of it is so real. And unless you truly feel it from within, it's not going to change. But hearing people say it to you, people who are going through their own set of challenges over and over again, that helps. Thank you so very much. So very inspirational. Uncle, are you coming on stage? Now, after Ms. Ramesh, I was wondering if anybody was behind me. Thank you. And today, here at Zoho Auraspeaks, an initiative of Ableaura, I am looking for Mr. Dandapani. Mr. Dandapani is the president at Zoho Schools of Learning. He's the director of technology at Zoho Corporation. He's also the business solutions evangelist at the Zoho Corporation. And his extreme expertise in conceiving, nurturing creation, nurturing full-fledged software applications, from conception to implementation, has made him an extremely sought-after expert and also an extremely sought-after speaker, both inspirational, technical, and motivational, not both, all three. And he made this day possible. He enabled Ableaura to enable. He enabled Auraspeaks. Thank you so much, Shri Thiru Rajendran Dandapani, and I welcome you to deliver your keynote address. Stage is all yours.
I would like to start by introducing three of my colleagues who have fought their own little fights. Zoho Corporation la vela பண்றாங்க. அவங்களுடைய ஒரு சின்ன பேக் ஸ்டோரியை சொல்ல ஆசைப்படுறாங்க. Let's hear. Yeah, let's hear that first. Srimati.
Good evening, one and all present here. So, I'm Srimati Lakshmikantan, and I was contracted with polio when I was 9 months old. And today we have talks about this inclusivity of the disabled people in the workplace. But I joined Zoho about 12 years ago, and till now I haven't felt any discrimination or being alone because of this disability. And one more thing I would like to emphasize here is all my colleagues, my mentor, my manager, everyone made me so comfortable so that I'm not alone, something. So, and one more incident I want to tell here is, during the Crickfest is an intra event, what we do in the crickets thing. And the women team were introduced, and we had my teammates insisted me to come and join, and I hit about 10 runs, I guess, I remember. So it was really wonderful, and the whole event was very cherishing and still in my mind. And I want to thank everyone, Zoho, my family, my husband who has come along with me. So I thank the Ableaura for giving me this opportunity to share my. Thank you.
Hi everybody. Greeting, dear friends. I take this opportunity thanking Zogo Cup for giving me a chance to be a part of this organization. I came into this company as a fresher and now I've enriched my knowledge in HR support activities, and this has helped me build a good rapport with all the employees. During my 7-year tenure at Zoho, I have learned to work confidently. I hope to learn a lot more privilege offered to me. Thank you once again.
உங்க அம்மாவை பத்தி ஒரு வார்த்தை சொல்றியா? உன் கூடவே கொலீகா உட்கார்ந்திருக்காங்களே. She comes to office with you every day.
She comes to our office with me every day and help me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
கொஞ்சம் தமிழில் பேசுகிறேன். இன்று ஒரு நல்ல நாளை கொடுத்த கடவுளுக்கும், இந்த மேடைக்கு எனக்கு ஒரு நல்ல வாய்ப்பு கொடுத்த Auraspeaks அந்த டீமுக்கு எனக்கு என்னுடைய நன்றிகளை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். அடால்ஃப் ஹிட்லர் ஒரு டயலாக் சொல்லியிருக்கார், ஒரு கோட் இருக்குது அவரோடது. அவர் எல்லாருக்கும் பிடிக்குமான்னு எனக்கு தெரியல, பட் அவரோட கோட் எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். நீங்கள் நடந்து போக பாதை இல்லை என்று கவலைப்படாதீர்கள், பாதையை உருவாக்குங்கள் சொல்லியிருக்கார். அவருடைய கோட் ஆக்சுவலி அவர் நிறைய அதை யூஸ் பண்ணியிருப்பார் அவருடைய இதில், அவருடைய அந்த பயணங்களில் நல்லாயிருக்கும். நிறைய புது புது கண்டுபிடிப்புகளும் சரி, அதை மாதிரி நமக்கும் இந்த மாற்றுத்திறனாளி நமக்கும் இதுக்கு முன்னாடி உடல் ஊனமுற்றோர்கள்ன்ற பேர் தான் இருந்தது. எல்லாரும் இந்த உடல் ஊனமுற்றோர்கள் பண்ணுற செயல்கள், அவருடைய தாட்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்து மாற்றுத்திறனாளியின் பேர் மாற்றிருக்காங்க இப்போது. ஸோ இது இன்னும் கண்டிப்பாக மாறும். மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகள் பேர் மாற்றிருக்கிறாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி இன்னும் மோராக நான் இந்த மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகள்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது, இது கூட இன்னும் நிறைய மாறும், இந்த வேர்ட்ஸ் கூட மாறுன்ற எதிர்பார்ப்பு எனக்கு நிறைய இருக்குது. நான் ஃபஸ்ட்டு பார்த்தப்பெல்லாம் எல்லாருமே நல்லா இருக்கவங்க தான் இந்த ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் இதெல்லாம் பார்த்துட்ருப்பாங்க. இப்போ நிறைய மாற்றுத்திறனாளிகளுடைய அணிகள் கிரிக்கெட்டில் இருக்குது, பேஸ்கெட் பால் இருக்குது, எல்லாமே இருக்குது. நான் பார்த்துருக்கேன், இப்போ நிறைய பார்த்துட்ருக்கோம். ஸோ அது மாதிரி மாறும். இப்போ என்னென்னா அதேமாரி ஜோகோ எங்களுக்கு ஒரு வாய்ப்பு கொடுத்துருக்கு. ஜோகோவில் நான் 2006 12th முடித்தப்போ ஒரு ஸ்கூல் ஆஃப் ஜோகோன்னு இருக்குது. ஸோ அதில் படிச்சிருக்கேன். படித்தப்போ எனக்கு இங்கிலீஷ் தெரியாது, கம்ப்யூட்டர் தெரியாது, ப்ரோக்ராம் தெரியாது. ஸோ இங்கிலீஷ்லாம் எங்கள் சார் ராஜேந்திரன் தண்டபடி தான் எடுத்திருக்காரு. ஸோ நிறைய கற்றுக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன். அடுத்தது எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஃபியர் இருக்கும், ஸ்டேஜ் ஃபியர் இருக்குது, என்ன அந்த மாதிரி இருக்குது பார்த்து. ஸோ அதெல்லாம் உடைச்சிருக்காங்க. எங்களுக்கு நிறைய ப்ரோக்ராமிங் கற்றுக் கொடுத்து இன்றைக்கி நான் டெஸ்டிங் டீம் மேனேஜராக இருக்கேன் ஜோகோவில். அந்த ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி எனக்கு கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. இன்னும் நிறைய என்னை இந்த ஸ்டேஜுக்கு இன்றைக்கி உங்ககிட்ட பேசுகிறப்போ இதையும் உருவாக்குனது இந்த ஜோகோ தான். இந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டேஜ் எந்த இது. ஸோ அது ஒரு ஃபேராக இருக்குது. ஸோ தேங்க்யூ.
I actually have no moral or legal standing to really deliver a speech here. ஆனால் கொஞ்சம் இந்த ஈவெண்ட்டுக்கு வரப்போகிறேன் அப்படின்னு யோசித்த போது I thought we are all disabled and I have 3 reasons to defend my case. முதல் ரீசன் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இது ஜோஹோவுடைய ஒன் ஆஃப் த ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ். அதனுடைய ஜூம் ஃபீச்சர், அப்புறம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஸ்க்ரீன் ரீடர் எனேபிள் பண்ண ஃபீச்சர், அப்புறம் பர்டிகுலர் ஏரியாவை மட்டும் ஹைலைட் பண்ணி சில விஷுவல் டிசபிலிட்டி இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு உதவுறதுக்காக எங்களுடைய ப்ராடக்டில் ஒரு ஃபீச்சர். அதே மாதிரி எப்போ வேணால் எவ்வளவு தூரம் வேணால் ஜூம் பண்ணிக்கலாம் அப்படிங்கிறதும், அப்புறம் சில பேருக்கு எபிலெப்டிக் ஃபிட்ஸ் வரக்கூடாதுன்றதுக்காக மோஷன் அனிமேஷன்லாம் குறைத்து காட்டுவதற்காக ஒரு செட்டிங், இதெல்லாம் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். யாரோடனா இவரோட சேர்ந்து தான், பாலா சிவாவோட சேர்ந்து. ஒன் ஆஃப் தி fruitful, meaningful associations we have had with a customer அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா இவரோட சேர்ந்து பண்ணியிருக்கோம். ஆனால் இதெல்லாம் நான் பார்த்துட்டு இருந்த போது இந்த ஜூம் ஃபீச்சர் நானே யூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அப்புறம் டார்க் மோட், அப்புறம் வேற செட்டிங், இந்த ரொம்ப எல்லா இடத்தையும் பிளிங்க் அடிக்கிறது, அப்புறம் எல்லா ஆல் ஓவர் த பிளேஸ் தேர் ஆர் நோட்டிஃபிகேஷன்ஸ். கேன் ஐ ஹாவ் அ ஃபோக்கஸ் மோட்னு நானே ஆசைப்பட்டிருக்கேன். அண்ட் தட் இஸ் வென் ஐ ரியலைஸ்ட், like you all already know, disability is probably a feeling that all of us go through. அந்த வயசான பாட்டி ஏறும் போது I felt anybody, if we had done something for the disabled people, we would have done something for the young, for the very old, for the temporarily injured, and for everybody else looking for some reprieve from this information flooding world அப்படின்னு நினைச்சேன். So we are all disabled. Case number 2. Physical disability, inability to move, inability to hear, hard of hearing, unable to speak well, visually impaired. அப்புறம் நடுவில் லேர்னிங் டிசபிலிட்டி கூட. இப்போ அது மேலேயே ஒரு பிக்சர் வைக்கிறேன், உங்களுக்கு புரியும். There are robots that can run faster than us, that can climb things that we can't even dream of climbing, that can do balancing acts that we can't, even the best of humans can't imagine. There are hearing aids that allow us to hear infrasonic, ultrasonic, things that we don't even, ஒரு மெஷின் சரியா ஓடுதா இல்லையாங்கிறத அதனுடைய frequency infrasonic 10 Hz கேட்கறதுக்கு hearing aids வந்தாச்சு. What about robots that see in ultraviolet and infrared? There are robots today. There are cameras that do that today. And what about languages? If I can't speak Spanish, I am disabled when I am in Spain. But today there are technologies, there are apps, there are products that allow us to type what we want, translate it into any language they want to hear, in probably the superhero or the actress's voice. And கேட்கவே வேணாம், ஓப்பன் ஏஐ, சாட் ஜிபிடி, திங்கிங்கும் காம்படிஷன் வந்தாச்சு. Again, we are all disabled when seen from the standpoint of this oncoming AI revolution. We all have to band up together அப்படின்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். The third reason I think I say we are all disabled is this guy, Rick Hansen அப்படின்னு பேரு, Canadian sportsman. 15 வயசில் அடிபட்டு he lost his mobility, and அதோடு நிறுத்தலை, வேர்ல்டு வைடு வீல் சேர் அத்லீட்டாக ஆகி பாஸ்கெட் பால்லாம் விளையாடுவார், கிரேட் வால் ஆஃப் சைனாலாம் ரன் பண்ணியிருக்காரு. இவர் ஒரு கோட் சொல்கிறார். He says, my disability is that I cannot use my legs, but my handicap is your negative perception of that disability, and thus of me. என்னுடைய டிசபிலிட்டி என்னன்னா, என்னுடைய கலீக்ஸோட டிசபிலிட்டியை புரிஞ்சுக்க முடியல பாருங்க, அதுதான் என்னுடைய டிசபிலிட்டின்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். And we should all work towards pushing that disability out. Thank you.
How does it get more inspiring? How does it get more inspiring? I'm a HR consultant at a global software solutions company also. I wear many hats, you know. As an author, we need bread and butter. So you need a day job. I do that. I am going to go back and tell my testing team manager about this most inspirational person that I saw today. Inniki naam paartha inda testing team manager patti enga office testing team manager kitta kandipa poi solla poren. Adhe pola இன்றைக்கு பார்த்த president of the School of Learning பத்தி எங்க ஆஃபீஸ் பிரசிடென்ட் கிட்ட போய் நான் கண்டிப்பா சொல்ல போறேன். It just doesn't get better than this. Enabling அப்படிங்கிறது மனசார வரணும். மனசார enabling வரும் பொழுது the enabler also becomes enabled, and that is the beauty of that. Thank you so very much, Zoho, to each and every one that makes up Zoho, including this wonderfully bubbly lady that I see here, but I didn't see on stage yet. Thank you. Thank you, Thirudandapani avargal. That was so inspiring. God bless. யாரும் சீட்டை விட்டு எழுந்துக்க கூடாது. இப்பயே கட்டி போட போறேன். ஏன்னா ஆட் பிரேக் தான். ஆனா ஒரு 2-3 minute ஆட் பிரேக். பாப்கார்ன்லாம் கிடையாது. Please stay in your seats. I will be back. Okay?
Check. Thank you, Zoho. Right from day one, we have been partners, great partners. But I want to mention one thing, a couple of people. Gopal, can you please come on stage, please? Ritika, please come. So, how I know Gopal is a LinkedIn connect where we have said hi and bye sometime in our lives. And then I call him one day and I tell him that, this is something that we are starting Ableaura. And then, we wanted to kind of do certain activities. So the first commercially funded CSR initiative in our tourism was done by Zoho. 8 visually impaired people and then, 4 more, with other disabilities. Plus, they had 12 of their staff travel along as guides and buddies and all those things. And then they went up Mishapuli Mala, which is the second highest trekkable point in South India. Ritika was also there. And from there on, Ritika became the point of contact for us. Amazing person. Always has been very professional. Always has been kind of, immediately getting things done and all those things, which is part of her job and all those things. But the heart is there. And we saw that in the tour, as well as anything that we want to do after that. So I want to thank both of you. So, and pleasure knowing you and pleasure knowing you. Thank you. Yeah.
Bala, did you also do what I did and take a break of the break? Did you take a break in the break? Yeah? You can finish playing the ad if it was halfway through. Yog, if the video was halfway through, you can finish. Yeah. Since Prashant started off this day with a shloka by Adi Shankaracharya, it only feels right that I should add another quote at this point. In his Bhajagovindam, he has said, Ma kuru dhanajana yauvana garvam, harati nimesha kala sarvam. இதோடைய பொருள் தன ஜன யௌவன பணம், அதாவது பணம் எனும் பொருள், மக்கள், வயது, நிலை, நம்முடைய செயல்பாட்டு நிலை, உடலோ மனமோ, இது எதுலேயும் அகங்காரம் கொள்ளக்கூடாது. காரணம் என்னன்னா, ஒவ்வொரு நிமிடமும் இந்த நிலை மாறுது, அழியுது, இல்லை உருமாறுது. இதில் நாம் கர்வம் கொண்டோன்னா திரும்பி பார்க்கும் பொழுது எதுவுமே இல்லாததான் இருக்கும். இதை நான் ஏன் சொல்ல வரேன்? Why am I saying this? Because next we have a panel discussion that is going to take place here. A panel discussion that is going to touch each and every one's heart. Because the first time I heard this being said was at the launch of Ableaura last year. Each of us will be disabled someday. Do we realize that? Do we take account of that? We don't. அதுக்கு தான் மாக்குரு தனஜன யௌவன கர்வம். And to enable this panel discussion, I would like to call as moderator the one and only Balaji Kannan, with an intense background in software, ninja-like software skills, and vast and deep exposure to the healthcare world. Balaji Kannan is also an enabler of Ableaura and Zoho Auraspeaks, an Ableaura initiative. Both the Balas are partners in crime. I'm sorry, in Ableaura. Thank you so much for being here with us, Balaji.
Thank you, Mamti. Thank you.
I would next like to call on Dr. Suresh Hangawadi. He's a very renowned doctor from the wonderful state of Karnataka who's been facing barriers since birth but has broken through them and established the Hemophilia Care Services as the founder of the Karnataka Hemophilia Society. Banni doctore, ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದು ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷವಾಗಿದೆ. ನೀವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡಿ, ಈಗ ನನಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾನ್ಸೇ ಸಿಕ್ಕಲ್ವೇ? ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆಗಳು ನಿಮಗೇನು? Now I'm super excited because I am going to be inviting a sports person onto stage. Dr. Rajkumar spoke about sports initiatives, and we know that Ableaura has 5 academies currently across Chennai, which are sports academies, Ableaura academies of sports development, where persons with disabilities are trained in and participate in sporting activities almost every single day. And these 5 academies are going to grow to 8 before we blink an eye. And they're going to grow across the state, and they're going to grow across the country with numerous competitions and numerous championships. So all the best for that, Bala. And on that note, our next panelist has won innumerable accolades and is a state-level boccia player. Do you know what boccia is? Lift up your hands. How many of you know what? Okay. It is a precision ball game, almost like I cannot compare it with bowling now. Can I? Almost. It's a precision ball game, which is one of the 2 precision ball games for persons with severe disabilities in the Paralympics. It's such an honor to have you here, Satish Kumar. I'm going to leave them and you all to this scintillating panel discussion on how we will all have disability one day. All yours.
Thank you, Mamti Chari. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. On behalf of Ableaura, let me take a quick couple of minutes to welcome each one of you here for this event. I take this opportunity to thank everybody from the community, my friends from school who have come here, who have contributed a lot, and my fellow colleagues from Ableaura, and our title sponsor, Zoho, and friends from Zoho. I take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you and welcome you warmly to this event. Okay, so the topic given to us, if Mr. Yogi, can I have the COVID slide on the thing? The topic given to us is all of us have a disability and everyone will get disabled at some point of time, right? So when this topic was given and then we had, this is something which has been very close to what I've been thinking over a period of time, okay? And between us and the panelists, when we had a discussion, each one of us, like Mr. Satish and Dr. Suresh, were very thrilled to go further into this topic and then get more details about this topic, and thought we'd share and then have a panel discussion, okay? So the whole, I mean, I know, like, do you all agree, like, when COVID struck us, the whole world, in a sense, was non-able, right? Like, so we need not call it disabled, but in a sense, the whole world was like kind of in a non-abled scenario. Children could not go to schools. Young adults could not go to colleges. It was, working was difficult. People had to do everything virtually. We were all dependent on e-commerce apps and things like that, right? In a sense, like, I would like to start with that particular point, right? Like, even disabled people, as you see here in this slide, really suffered during COVID disability. This is a slide in fact, even a couple of days back when I was in a session with Mrs. Poonam Natarajan, they were showing this slide, which really shook me in terms of how disabled people suffered during COVID. A person could not even wash her hand because the wash basin was on a higher altitude, right? Or the height was larger. Okay, so let me start with that point, and then maybe I'll open up this discussion. I'll start with Dr. Suresh. So what do you think about this, sir? Like, during COVID times, do you think the whole world was non-able? If we don't want to use the term disabled, the whole world was non-able, right? We were all disabled in some form or the other, and we had to be ready for that, right?
Yes. Yes, during COVID, the whole world was disabled. So that's why the disability definition itself has to be reviewed. And if we generally define disability as an impairment, and if you go back to the history, disability was viewed as our elders used to tell that it is a curse, something, sin the person committed, now he is suffering. And now it has moved to the societal issue. It is the society. So what I feel, the recently, that is Article Convention on Disability with Persons with Disability defined, it results from interaction with people with long-term physical, mental, intellectual or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers. Here, please understand, yes, there is impairment of people in various ways. Health issues, or as in COVID situation. So many issues, the situation is created. For some people, it may be a permanent. For some people, it may be a transient phase or even temporary phase. But there is an impairment. But what is the problem? The problem is interaction with various barriers. Barriers with their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. Of course, there is impairment, but the society's barriers also matters a lot here. Because the barriers, if the conducive atmosphere is created, if the barriers are removed by the society, then the person with disability can achieve, can also work, can also do the things at par with others. So that's why I say, more than the person with the disability, I say society is disabled. One example, my own experience I can quote here. When I was studying my MBBS, I studied so well, and unfortunately, I had bleed in my knee joint. But the examination was in the 4th floor. Those days, no ramp, no lift. I lost one term.
this would have been prevented if there is a lift or a ramp at least. So that's why it is disability is not impairment itself, but rather attitudes and environmental barriers that result in disability.
Thank you, sir. Very well said. I mean, the point, as you said, right, disability is more to do with the attitudes and then how society creates a kind of a universal design and an accessible infrastructure. Most of disability can be overcome, like kind of at least if the society has a proper accessible infrastructure and a universal design. And the message we are trying to convey out of COVID as a reason why we picked up as a first point is like, okay, that brought in what virtually and what technology can do as a whole to the society when each one of us can be disabled in one form or the other. We all went into a virtual mode of working, virtual mode of education, virtual mode of various things, right? And then the e-commerce apps picked up, people started using apps, all these technology companies started doing well. So yeah, a whole lot of things actually were benefits out of COVID, and that is the point we wanted to basically kind of bring out and say that like COVID made the whole world, in a sense, a kind of, I don't want to use the word disabled, it made us in a kind of non-abled scenario. So why not be ready as a society, as a community, as a general, why not as a humanity, we all get together and create a bridge for the future so that each one of us can be in a more inclusive world. So my request for the next slide on our app, please, Ableaura app.
One more opportunity COVID gave us to realize how bad our health infrastructure. And that is the time, more than the higher category, the lower category staffs, NGOs, they worked so hard to face the challenges of COVID. So now we know what are the alternatives and how to build our health infrastructure.
Excellent point, sir. As a doctor, the health infrastructure actually was overwhelmed during COVID, but actually we kind of improvised on the health infrastructure, and that remains for any future pandemic. If people became non-abled in some sense, we are ready for that. But we should not stop there, and the point is we should move more ahead and do more as a society to bridge ourselves for the future in case of a non-abled scenario. So I now put it to Mr. Satish. What is your view on this particular point of during COVID, we were all non-abled. How did you manage during the time, and what is your thought? What are your thoughts?
So adding to Sir's point, that I should say that during the COVID period, many people with disabilities had the struggle of reducing their health problems. Mainly, they could not have their continuous physiotherapy. So those kind of things made their condition even worse. Because people with muscular dystrophy, they need to have a regular physiotherapy to maintain their health conditions. And for many other kind of disabilities also, they were not able to go outside. The physiotherapists were not able to come to their homes. And many kind of problems happened. Personally, for me also, for the 1 year in between gap made me the backbone spine to become more worse. Because we were continuously sitting. Those kind of issues could not be solved at that particular time. But to take it in the positive note, for many people with disabilities, what happened is this COVID opened their doors wherein they were creating more job opportunities for them. Initially, people with disabilities could not travel to many places due to the physical barriers and all. But this COVID made them to give more online opportunities, work from home, and it was a major shift for them in creating job opportunities. So we could have both plus or minus in this COVID situation, I feel.
Yeah, very well said, Mr. Satish. So we are also happy as part of Ableaura having learned some lessons from the past, encouraged by my dear friend and founder, Mr. Bala Shiva. Like I was lucky enough to actually arrive at a curated set of hundreds of services which could kind of get into our app. This is our app. Our app is already released in Play Store and App Store. We could create a curated set of hundreds of services and an e-commerce marketplace for products which the persons with disabilities could use in case, God forbid, in case of any future scenario, like Mr. Satish said, if somebody wants a physiotherapist, if somebody wants a speech therapist at home, they can actually book a service online. So in a sense, between me and my team, we were lucky enough to put across this app, and we hope this will be of service to the community. maybe down the line. So quickly going down to my next point, Doctor, let me come to the actually how the society views disabled, right? The moment, one point which comes to my moment we say disabled or non-abled, society thinks as an identity, somebody on a wheelchair, somebody who's visually impaired, somebody who's hearing impaired, or somebody with a cognitive disability like autism or something. Somewhere we need to, I honestly feel we need to break that notion of like it is not only those people and those identities who are disabled, but it is each one of us are disabled in some way or the other, whether now or down the line, there is a chance that, okay, although I don't want to, I mean, some people may think, oh, why are we thinking in that sense? But each one of us at some point in time, either due to age, we may get disabled. There are permanent, these are what I said initially, the wheelchair, the hearing loss, visual, these are all stereotypes, right? Like they are all permanent disabilities. But there are other temporary disabilities, like somebody fracturing an arm, somebody fracturing a leg, somebody, a pregnant lady who's not able to do something for a period of time, or somebody who had got a stroke after 40, 50 years of age. So those are the kind of scenarios we enter a world of temporary disabilities, and so we need to do something to bridge for those scenarios also, either through technology or through people or through process, we need to do it. Then there are a lot of invisible disabilities, like as you rightly said, hemophilia, then autism, dyslexia, and all kind of invisible disabilities. And then we also have other health related, could be stroke, could be cancer, could be disabling, any other disabling paraplegic conditions. Or it could be purely age related, hearing loss, vision loss, whatever, like macular degeneration, whatever, right? So these are broadly various categories of disabilities. So I just want One on the railway station when the audio announcements went off, and people who were advocating those needs like you and others did an excellent job. And similarly, the example of Kamakshi party, it helps them. As we age, right? In my house, I've already, since we've got, we are all people, okay, we have got some disability within our family. My house, when I went in 20 years back, I made sure the bathrooms, everything have grab bars and things like that. It helps any normal person who comes into my house, as well as anybody else who, as well as us. In fact, I would have saved myself at least hundreds of falls because I have those grab bars. Okay, so otherwise I would have been fractured at least 100 times. Okay, so very well said on those 2 points. And similarly, again, another point which comes, I think there are good people like Mrs. Smita Sadashivam here, who's been fighting for low-floor buses in Chennai and all that. Low-floor buses need not only help the people with disabilities, right? It'll help anybody to have a low-floor bus in Chennai. And unfortunately, it went to court, and then government gave a lot of reasons in terms of infrastructure. Okay, that's besides the point. I'm just trying to convey that all these technology, process, people-related, all these infrastructure doesn't just help only persons with disability. It is for, in general, our non-enabling conditions, it helps us. Okay, that's how it has to be viewed. I'll quickly move on to the next point. Okay, this is something which I always think, right? Again, coming back to the core topic of, you have a scenario we have heard of Stephen Hawking, right? He was severely disabled, as people call, but he was a scientist, right? And then you talk of Helen Keller. She was severely disabled and she became a great author, right? And similarly in India, you have so many other people. We have ourselves got so many other speakers who are achievers, right? From IAS officers to people working in corporates, banks like Satish, doctor. So we have so many achievers. The point I'm trying to make is, but on the other flip side, if you see, not that every non-disabled person, strictly as you call in a normal abled person, they may not become always a scientist or an author in a strict sense, right? Both ways it works, right? It's not that every disabled person reaches that height because he doesn't have opportunities. On the other side, people who are really able may not become a scientist also, right? So the point I'm trying to bring out is the degree of disability matters, and mind matters above all in the context of when we think of disabilities and how we view disabilities in a society. When a Stephen Hawking can become a scientist, why could not any other person? What is the difference between a Stephen Hawking or a Helen Keller and any of us for that matter? The only thing which came to my mind was mind matters ultimately. The attitude, as Dr. Suresh and Mr. Satish said, matters. Quickly, some more views on that.
As you rightly said, so now I would like to highlight what are the barriers for disabilities. Number 1, that is attitude. Mindset has to be changed. Next, number 2, accessibility. We have to make the society accessible for people with disabilities. And educational, skilling, yes, teach them. Employment. I am really happy that the Dandapani has supported people with disability in the corporate Joho. And the legal capacity. Okay, these are the attitude. But in addition to this, especially in the rural area, the caste, religion also add the complication to the issues. And that's why what are the solutions? Number 1, freedom to make choice and decision, and non-discrimination, full and effective participation and inclusion, accept human diversity, equal opportunity, accessibility, gender equality, respect for, yes, this is very important, children rights. So these has to be. So here I would like to emphasize on, we mentioned different forms of disability. I would like to emphasize there are some disabilities which are preventable. If you take measures, if you treat, I will give an example, the deficiency, that is neonatal hypothyroidism. If you detect, if you do one simple neonatal screening test and detect and replace this thyroid hormone, so nothing will happen. But what we are seeing, after 2-3 years, the child will be brought by the parents with impairment of the brain. So this could have been prevented. In the same way, our hemophilia, the disability is 100% preventable. In Western side, they don't allow the children to bleed by providing periodical infusions of the missing clotting protein we call prophylaxis. Prophylaxis is gold standard treatment in developed nation. But in our country, we allow these children to become disability with untreated bleed, and we make them not accessible to the education because of the repeated bleed. So that's why the early intervention by either neonatal screening and also prophylaxis in case of hemophilia should be made available to all these patients suffering with.
Good point, sir. Yeah, just in the interest of time, probably I'll rush through some of the other points. So I request the other panelists also to see if we could just speed up, given because we have more speakers lined up. Okay. So just a quick word on the mind matters. Yeah. So
to add on the points of mind matters, I would like to say that the disability, we can take it in two forms. One, the accessible barriers. The second one, the control and permission over the authorities. These two mainly matters the mindset of people of the society. Because if these two have been removed, easily the social barriers can be easily removed. And also I feel like that the people who are achievers, they see it from, the society sees them as a normal people. I should not use the word normal, but just I'm saying that the people who have not achieved anything, again I'm using the wrong word, might be wrong, but still saying that the society sees them, these kind of people with disabilities are not useful or not useless to anything. But people who have fame and achievers, they don't see them in the same way. They feel like that, okay, they beyond their disability, they have achieved many things, and they see them as a superstitious. The words, whatever I use, may be wrong, but it only depends upon the fame and achievement they do. So you need to look into their what all capability they have. Based on that only you have to judge them, just not on their appearances.
well said, Satish. Well said, Satish. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. So quickly, that slide on Ableaura sports and travel, please. Sports first. Yeah. 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 So at Ableaura, like in our own small way, we have begun to address what I fondly call lines of services rather than lines of business. So it's kind of, we have really started to see how to engage a particular person who is either kind of because of birth or acquired disability. How do we involve them in sports? How do we involve them in travel? We are also talking to educational institutions to see how do we enable them right at the school level itself to make them more inclusive. Also, the employability also we are exploring. And as a company, as our friend, like Bala Shiva said, we are already committed and we have about 20-25% of persons with disabilities already employed with us, and that would continue. Okay, so as you see here, we've already got about 5 sports centers in Chennai, and in which about 150 participants are already getting benefited in terms of their health and other needs. And the other thing is like travel is the other thing. We have taken people, we believe people should feel good. Their mindset should be good. Mind matters, we spoke a lot. They should always feel good. They should feel entertained. They should also be in a position to travel wherever they want. India, you know, we have a lot of infrastructure unlike US or Western European countries. Right, like so we have ensured, we have done a lot of trips together with our title sponsor Zoho, thanks to them and others, and our Ableaura volunteers and other sponsors. Like we have had very good number of visits, taking people to Kiradi, taking people to Misapulimala, which is the second highest peak in South India and all that. So that is all something we have kind of been able to progress. Point. Sir, like, so in summary, like I would kind of see it as 4 or 5 things stand out, sir. Like one is universal design, right? Like, so we need infrastructure. We started with the COVID point, we're all universally non-able. So we need to focus, at least in an Indian context, we need to focus more on the universal infrastructure. Our roads have to be better. Our ramps have to be created for all buildings, temples, hotels, whatnot. A whole lot of activities are there. Similarly, when it comes to digital infrastructure, a whole lot of accessibility issues are there. Still 95-99% of our websites are not accessible, or apps are not accessible. Thankfully, at Ableaura, we have been very conscious in creating accessible apps. That took a lot of our time also, but we made sure that we went through that process and path. Okay, so, and then we also have to focus on assistive technologies, as rightly the Zoho team showed how technology can help us. It could be any technology, the hearing aid, advanced or a motorized wheelchair or anything. It could be new, any patches applied on the skin, anything in terms of, so these are the areas, broad areas we need to focus on. A quick summary words.
Yeah, because there's no much time. I will just quickly tell the, especially the infrastructural accessibility has to be established and improved, especially environmental accessibility and navigation inside the medical facility. That is another important point. And accessibility of documents and payment, and accessibility with regards to medicines and medical equipment, and accessibility in times of emergency that we have learned during COVID emergency, and accessibility of information and communication. That is also equally important. We need to focus on it and improve. And personal training and engagement for accessibility. Okay, so these are definitely has to be focused, maybe from the government, maybe from the corporate, and also there should be a constant, consistent advocacy with the union government by the right-based organization like us, and to achieve all these things. I think mainly the infrastructure facilities has to be improved in our country.
Thank you, sir. We all agree on that point as a summary thing. Like, so I'll just have a quick word from Mr. Satish on those final 4 summary points of our universal infrastructure design, digital infrastructure accessibility, portion of assistive technologies and products, and removing barriers. Satish, your quick few thoughts on that, summary thoughts on that. Yeah, so.
In a short, I just want to say that I feel that accessibility is the backbone of a person with disability. Because if accessibility is not there, a person with disability cannot achieve his dreams anywhere. Wherever I go, I need someone's support to transfer me from car to auto or whatever modes of transport. But if there is accessible transport, I don't need to depend on anyone at all, and I can directly sit on my wheelchair and travel. So it is not only on private cabs or autos. Public transport should be 100% accessible. Wherever we go, we does not even take 1% support from anyone. If that kind of accessibility and infrastructure we have, a person with disability can do anything, anywhere. And also all kinds of buildings, everything. And nowadays, if you see, I feel that WhatsApp is being the only mode of communication many people use. It has been very much helpful for people with hearing impaired. Any other than app, they only use that because it is easy for them to do a video call and do. So like these kind of, all kinds of accessibility from A to Z, I don't need to mention the list here. If with the permission of Ableaura, I request each and everyone seeing here, any organization, wherever you have, please try to have the environment completely accessible, have wide doors, have accessible restrooms, have what all modifications if you can, you make it. This is not going to help only a person with disability, and nothing lost, you are going to make it, and this can helpful be everyone. Don't think your office, your home is not going to have a person with disability. Someday or the other, aging parents are there. Someday they will also become disabled. Some kind of support they might require. So once you make it accessible, any day, anyone can use it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Satish. Very well said on accessibility. We have all gone through what difficulties if we don't have accessibility. Very well said. In fact, just a quick point, like in fact, I heard it in one other seminar. As a normal community, right, as a society, this is the message, like kind of, it's more a request, right? Whenever anybody, right, need not be a disabled person. You see a place, a restaurant, a hotel, in an Indian context, right? you see a cinema theater, a temple, a church, or a gurudwara, whatever, mosque, being accessible, please message, please circulate that good word. And please ensure that you appreciate the person for creating an accessible infrastructure, appreciate the person for creating an accessible design. So in Indian context, we need a lot of that message going around from our people, our friends at large, okay, who are not in a strict sense not disabled, right? Please ensure, if this is a message, is more a request I'm placing, that if you could really appreciate and promote that cause, promote that need, that would go a long way in enabling and empowering and creating an accessible design throughout India. Okay, so that's more a request as a message. Okay, so quick, Dr. Suresh wanted to have a quick final 1 minute on, like he wanted to share a few things about hemophilia and specific things. Yeah, I'll give it.
Yeah. Thank you, Ara. Because hemophilia being a low volume, high cost disorder and having low level of awareness, I would like to utilize this opportunity very quickly, just 1 minute. So I will tell you what exactly hemophilia is. So hemophilia is a congenital bleeding disorder due to deficiency of certain clotting protein. These people, these children, they have prolonged bleeding on a trivial trauma, and more problematic is the internal bleeding, mainly into the joints and muscles. And they can bleed any part of the body. If they bleed in the brain or other vital structure, so that becomes fatal. So it is genetic and incurable. That's why the only remedy is replacing the missing clotting protein at every instance of bleeding. So that's why since it is low awareness, and being a doctor now, so just share why I became a doctor. So since it is genetic, my maternal uncle also had hemophilia, and when he came to know that I too have this hemophilia, so he used to ask me to become a doctor, prefer to become a doctor. I was not much interested, but those days, school days, but one incident changed the whole scenario. So he had a severe headache, and he took me along with him to the hospital where now I am working. And he is telling that I have hemophilia, I am sensing bleed in my brain, please give me 2-3 units of blood. That is the only thing available those days. But the doctor get irritated, and he tells that whether I am doctor or your doctor, he pushes us out of the OPD, and the whole family has to witness his death inch by inch. After 1 week, he died. So that incident really disturbed me a lot in that tender age, and I determined to take up medical profession and become a doctor. After becoming a doctor, since I too have hemophilia, already having the outcome of untreated bleed, that is disability, so I decided to take MD pathology as my profession. And yeah, because that is the two reason. That is because it is a lab medicine. Even if worst disability occurs, I can sit in a corner and do the work. And another reason, I can involve in the field of blood. So that's how it all started. But the last point, I am proud and happy that the great support of the great human being, Dr. S.P. Balasubramaniam. When he came to know about hemophilia, he readily agreed to support us. In his words, to say, you are all doctors. God has given opportunity to help treat patients, but I am not a medical doctor, but I have doctorate in music and singing. Please give me an opportunity. So this is how our relationship started on World Hemophilia Day, which is observed on April 17th in 1999. And he stood with us for even till the last year of his life. He came to, with intuition or something, I don't know. So he came to Davangere, and he was so much because of his 5 mega event, and the philanthropic women who donated a piece of land in Davangere, we took the dare decision of establishing an exclusive hemophilia treatment center. Now we have lab diagnosis, treatment, rehabilitation, including physiotherapy, hydrotherapy under one roof. And so today, I felt so pained that this is the first time I am going back home without meeting SP Balasubramaniam. And really, even then, today my wife, we went around his house because Charan has gone to Germany, so we could not meet the family. So at least we thought, let us go around his house and salute him. And I think this is still so much is there, but there is no time. I would like to conclude and thank Bala, and especially I was fascinated by the work of our Jia. And Jia is the person with whom I am working for rare diseases since around 5 years. And I accepted this thinking that I can meet Jia and the great people here, and Balaji, and really we are happy to work with Aura team. And also I have brought our Hemophilia Society Chennai, and I request Aura to support our local Hemophilia Society also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. You're doing a wonderful job. My apologies to the organizers for overshooting the time. Sincere apologies. So we'll conclude. Just a quick few seconds. My thanks to all my school friends, my college friends, and my relatives, and the other community friends who have come here, who have contributed and made this event grace this occasion. My sincere thanks to all of them. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Please stay on stage. Don't leave yet. I would, first of all, thank you so much. As part of the organizers, our apologies for not having more time. Because we have so many speakers here, we have so many wonderful individuals that are waiting to inspire, that have been inspiring, and we're trying to pack everything together for our wonderful audience seated there who are sitting there to get inspired and participate in this. So I'm so sorry that we couldn't give you more time. Adre Kritegnategalu. And thank you so much, Satish. I was going to come to the thank you so much, Satish. I'm sorry on Balaji's behalf.
No problem.
But whatever you spoke went straight to the heart. It is true. We need that independence to go anywhere and do anything by one's self. And that is very, very vital. And thank you so much for being a wonderful moderator. We saw whenever you speeded up like the Japanese bullet train, and then you didn't have a choice, but you had to make a point. We saw that. Thank you so much. But there is literally so much to share.
No problem. Hope one day or the other, our society soon changes.
Yes. And that is the one thing that we should dream about and work for.
We keep on working, it will change.
Of course we will. Yes.
That's it.
We shall work, and we shall work together. And to be together with us on stage, I would like to invite Ms. Poonam Natarajan. We know her best as a wonderful human being who's dedicated her life for the upliftment and inspiration of others. The founder of Vidyasagar, who also served as the chairperson of the National Trust, Ministry of Social Welfare, Government of India. It's so good to see you again. And I would also like to call on stage somebody whom I'm sure is related to me one way or the other. All the Charis are relatives. I think so. He is a Senior Director of Information Services Group, Ambassador of Collaboration and Change in Multinational Organizations. He's a passionate, award-winning IT professional who has an extensive portfolio of accomplishments and who's led organizations through global scale transformations. He specifically said, don't talk too much about me, so I hope I'm not embarrassing him. I'd like to invite on stage Thiru Sriram Rangachari. Please join us here. Sriram Rangachari. I request both these lovely persons to present mementos of Ableaura's love and affection and thank yous. Paintings by persons with disabilities from Dore Foundation and our own Ableaura's memento of appreciation. Thank you. Zia, please, without you, we would not have doctor here. Yes, yes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have our next speaker up, but before I call them onto stage, I would like to call two wonderful people who've enabled this evening to present mementos to the upcoming speaker. Can I have Thiru Dandapani on stage? Is Thiru Rajendran Dandapani here? He's not here yet. Okay. Can I have Ms. Anita Srinath on stage? Anita, like have I told you this? No, I was telling somebody down there. For 33 years, she would call herself a volunteer. I would say she's a leader volunteer for enabling those with visual impairment change their world. Education, life, and living overall. Everywhere where she can enable, she has enabled. Matter of fact, I have volunteered to go sit and do readings also with her, but that was quite a while ago. A lady that I deeply admire and love wholeheartedly. And she's the reason I'm here, by the way, that too. I would also like to call on stage Commodore Vijesh Kumar Garg. Commodore, may we have you on stage, please? The Commodore is an extremely distinguished Indian Navy veteran with over 36 years of leadership experience, degrees from various prestigious institutions, a PhD. In the center of stage, please. All of you are in the spotlight now. He has a PhD in management and a list of notable achievements. I mean, it's a huge list. So I don't think even my broad brush strokes will touch the salient points. But he's known for his achievements, including commanding warships. Please sit, Nitya. Nitya, sit and you can. I'm sure you can. If Nitya sits, can you see her at the back? Yeah, please sit. How long will you stand? It's not good. You'll get varicose veins. And they're painful. I just had my varicose vein surgery and it hurts. Yeah, you can see her, right? Yeah? Cool. Yes, the Commodore. The Commodore's commanded warships. He's alleged during the Kargil War. He's coordinated tsunami relief. And he's received innumerable awards for his contribution. And from our end, thank you for your service, sir. Without all of you, we are not safe. A wholehearted thank you. And it comes at great personal cost. I would now like to invite the next speaker who is up. He is going to be speaking about understanding employability. With so many people from the corporate world here who have shared our thoughts and who are yet to share their thoughts, this is a very vital subject that he is going to discuss in detail. And to talk of him, he's a very ardent adventure enthusiast. He's a two-time cancer survivor. He is a single amputee. And he has cycled across 3 states, completing 200 kilometers and 300 kilometers as a single-handed cyclist. And he used this to spread awareness, motivation, and inspiration. He's just optimism, pure and simple. I would like to welcome on stage Rachit Kulshrestha. Can we have you here, please? What is with sneaking up behind me. Welcome, welcome. Commodore and Anita Avargal, can we have you present mementos of our love and appreciation to Rachit, please?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And a painting.
Yeah.
That is a certificate of participation, of being part of the Ableaura family, and a painting from Torre Foundation.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all yours. Take it away, Rachit.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rachit Kulshrestha. A warm welcome to all of you. Before I speak about my topic, I'll just share a quick share about my personal life and my belief system. So, as you can see, I just have one hand here. And the ones who cannot see, I just want you to know that I don't have a hand. But I believe that this one hand has the power of 10 hands. And if you all out there, most of you have 2 hands, which means you have 20, power of 20 hands. That is what the belief system that makes one of the reason I'm actually speaking to all of you here. I want to share that you have your personal free will to choose what I want to say, whether it resonates with you or not. But one of the ways I've actually overcome my disability is I make fun of my disability, honestly. I crack jokes on it. When I lost my hand when I was 6 years old, and I get this question out of curiosity from people, what happened to your hand? So I make stories like the shark ate my hand, or I lost it in the war, and other things like that. And it really works. I personally believe that if you can laugh on your disability or laugh on yourself, you overcome your disability. That's my perspective on it. I have So there are various advantages also of not having a hand, because I never have a smelly armpit on my left side, and my deodorant lasts longer than usual. So that's one thing. And I hope my boss is not going to watch this, but you never know when the boss is troubling you. You can always show him the magic finger from the magic hand, if you know what I mean. Oh shit. The appraisal's around the corner, so I hope he doesn't watch this though. I'd like to begin my topic, which is psychology of thinking, understanding employability. Employability encompasses skills that you can offer a company, not just your first job, but your entire career. It pertains how employable you are and how well you fit into the organization with your specific role. Employers seek several key qualities. First and foremost, they look for bright individuals who are intelligent, who have some kind of a spark within them. They want people who will ask questions and about the past practices and future implications. Additionally, they require individuals who can effectively represent their brand, organization, fostering partnership, and across all sectors. Employers desire someone who can confidently handle meetings, establish partnership, and negotiate. In my opinion, individuals who go the furthest are the ones strong communication skills. That's one of the key things that is required to, really move forward in life. And the ability to ask questions when you are unsure. Communication skills are often regarded as the most crucial skill, regardless of whether you're an engineer, or a graduate, or any degree that you hold. The organization primarily evaluates your attitude because they believe that with the right attitude, they can teach you how to excel your job and learn the necessary skills. I'm going to say one thing 3 times because I don't want any one of you all to forget this. Learning and improvement is constant. Learning and improvement is constant. And for the last time, learning and improvement is constant. The most important skills include communication skills, commercial awareness, interpersonal skills. These are the skills I feel which are very important for someone to grow. Adaptability to change is also a highly sought after. You know, employers are not looking for people who can just handle their day-to-day task, but they're also looking for someone who can thrive within the organization, focus, learn, and grow. There will be certain times where you will notice that your job description is not what you really got when you went for your job, but still you are expected to give it a hand, to give it a try, and work on them. In today's technology-driven world, it's very crucial for you to build an online profile, especially in LinkedIn, which will really help you to facilitate and be accessible for others. If you truly want to excel and master the field, you should be open to feedback. When receiving feedback, assess its genuineness, consider how it can help you to improve. I strongly urge everyone who's listening to me that there is these 2 changes that I really want it to manifest on a bigger level. First being, I wish there is more accessible place for people on wheelchair. And second, I personally believe that these hearing aids are really expensive. Those who are aware of it, a good digital machine will cost 50,000 rupees, and I believe that a hearing machine is it's not a Rolls Royce, you know, it is a necessity for a person who cannot hear. I really wish the government could, really reduce the prices of hearing machines. That will also really add a lot more to employability. It is time. It is time for that paradigm shift. Is how we look at employability and be open to new possibilities. Let us explore ways to prolong employability. It is commonly considered as we grow older, the capacity to learn declines. However, scientifically proven facts and studies show and prove that all these assumptions are a refute. I refute this assumption. The human mind possesses an immense capacity and potential to learn throughout our entire lifetime, as long as we keep it active. The problem lies in forgetting how to learn and attributing it solely to age. Knowledge is no longer just power. The way we share and access knowledge holds tremendous power as well. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for your time. And my sincere, heartfelt gratitude to Auraspeaks for sharing this opportunity. Everyone have a beautiful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rashid. Now that is inspirational. Yes, thank you. I would like to call the next presenter of our memento to our next speaker first on stage. Could I have Ms. Meera Balaji on stage? Our absolutely beloved wheelchair warrior, loving mother, and not just that. She is somebody who gave up her entire successful career, her businesses, only to enable people with disabilities, purely for that. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Could I have you on stage, Ms. Meera Balaji? She's coming around, yes. And let me take the time to introduce our next speaker after I turn the page. Our next speaker is a renowned expert as an emotional and mental health counselor. She's also a wellness coach who is the founder of Enso Wellness. Dr. Hangawadi spoke about invisible disabilities. This is a space that she occupies and inspires so many people to do more and more and more, despite whatever the world might throw their way. I would like to welcome this torchbearer of hope who has inspired thousands onto stage. Let's have you here, Ms. Aruba Kabir Pathan. I'd request Ms. Balaji and Bala to present tokens of our love from Ableaura, along with paintings from the Ray Foundation, which bring a whole lot of love with them too. Photographs. Moment. Sorry. Yeah. See, that works. But I never said applause. You keep asking for applause, not me. You know, the moment is well worth it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Meera Balaji. And thank you for being here with us, Ms. Khan. You're going to take us on a journey now, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I really want to say thank you to you because you have been keeping us together. And, you know, it's been amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely my pleasure. And the stage is all yours.
Thank
Take
you.
it away.
Okay. So first of all, I am shivering. You know why? Because the day pandemic hit, that is the day, and today is the day, this is my first in-person physical appearance. And I have a disease, which I would talk about, in which I have a tendency of getting infections from people, even if they are coughing or sneezing. So I'm like, okay, do I have to go for this event? Should I? What if I fall sick? I'll spend 21 days in the hospital getting all the IVs. So, but then I was, if not me, then who? How long can I stay inside? And here I am. Thank you so much for having me. Okay, crossing dead ends is my topic. And it is heavy, it is profound. It is, who does not get dead ends? Like, I guess all of us. I won't see a person with disability or without disability not getting it. All of us get it. So I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about? I thought, this is my introduction. I'm 36-year-old, and I'm an emotional and mental health professional. I have a diagnosis of a rare genetic disorder, which is progressive in nature, called cystic fibrosis. I am the only healthiest cystic fibrosis patient in India as an adult. I see kids every month or in a week. I hear a news that somebody passed away. So I'm really grateful I'm here. It's 36, I'm still here. So I do have children, 2 lovely pit bulls, dogs, and they are my children. I was born in Kashmir, brought up in Jammu, did my college from Bangalore, traveled the world, again back in Bangalore. You know, this term, rare, they say it to you once in a lifetime. Almost, everybody must have heard it once at least. You are rare. But let me tell you, I guess people sitting here in this hall would understand the actual meaning, the profound meaning behind the sentiment. And I understand that. Rare disease, rare person, rare this, rare that. So I thought I'll share it with you who would understand it better. My childhood. These are the characteristics of my childhood. A sick child, always sick, coughing, tired, not able to play outdoors, not knowing what do I have. I wasn't diagnosed as a child. I was diagnosed at the age of 21. So for 21 years, I have been sick by not knowing what it was. Was it a good thing? Today when I look at it, it was an amazing thing. Because if I knew what I had, and it's a progressive thing, and I might not wake up tomorrow, I might have not been here. So sometimes, thank you. Sometimes when we think that we should know everything on time, I'm like, just leave it there. Some things are better unknown. We don't have to know everything. And as I said, misdiagnosis after misdiagnosis, I tried to kill myself 4 times. Today, if I get a needle prick, I'm like, get away from me. But 4 times, I tried to jump off a flyover. I had pesticides, not a good choice, but yeah, twice. I have marks on my wrist. These marks are reminders of my struggle, of my pain. Sometimes people look at my arm and they're like, love troubles. I'm like, dude, life is much more than love troubles. I was confused. Why am I not growing like others? Why am I not healthy like others? Why can't I do things like others? And how Aishwarya said, why me? This was a constant question. Somehow, I figured out, okay, early mornings are really bad for me. I cough a lot. Don't eat ice cream, Aruba. Don't eat pickle. Asthma, pneumonia, bronchitis, bronchitis, tuberculosis twice, appendicitis, worms. All these were diagnoses for me as a child. And then it was a magic which happened at the age of 21, though it was not in the nicest way. I was relentlessly coughing blood. And I was taken to the hospital and they said, oh, her lungs are damaged. We need to chop it off, as if lungs need the onions say, chop it off. And we shifted the hospital and they took me to this amazing, amazing pulmonologist who had come back from UK. I want to tell you, cystic fibrosis is not an Indian disease. It's a Caucasian disease. So India, it's very rare. And he just asked me for one simple test, sweat chloride. And to get that test, they burnt my arm twice because they were not used to doing it on adults. They burnt it, but they got it. They were confused. Okay, I was sitting in a wheelchair. I was unwell. I couldn't breathe well. But they were still like, how can she be alive and not diagnosed, not taken treatment for this? And that is where again I say, Mohana, you don't know what happens. Miracles are there every day. I was there. Okay, they did test thrice. They repeated it and repeated and repeated it. They got the diagnosis cystic fibrosis, and that changed life. Now I was happy because now I knew what I have. Now I knew what I have to do. Now I knew what can I, whatever I can figure out. Okay, I don't have to go to the public market. I don't have to hug everybody. I don't have to wear perfumes. I don't have to eat this. I have to take medicine. I knew it, and I was really happy about it. I was really happy about it, but I was sitting in a wheelchair. I was asked not to go out of the house because I would contract infections. I disconnected from my friends because I felt a shame, an internal shame that, shit, I'm not like them, so something is wrong with me. Guilt. Is it what Bala said? Past karma? Is it some punishment to me? Is it that my parents have done something wrong, I got punished? Or I have done something wrong, I got punished? I come from Muslim faith, but I took this treatment, which is an Ayurveda treatment made out of cow urine. And because I was trying to, cleanse myself so that the sins would go away, I haven't ever talked about it to anyone. My family used to say, yaar, badbu aa rahi hai, dur ho jao tum. But I didn't tell them what was the reason of taking that therapy. I took that treatment because I thought, okay, maybe there is something I can cleanse it. For 6 months, I disconnected from the world. Job was gone, boyfriend was gone, health was gone. There wasn't anything. And I was told, you are 21, you will die by 27 maybe, because life expectancy back then was 27. And this was in 2010. 6 months, I really cried. I would find solace in 17 medications I was given. And it had steroids, antibiotics, anti-anxiety medication, depression, anti-depression medicines, and I had self-harming tendencies, so obviously, So that was a story by then. But then in 6 months, I actually realized, I thought, yaar, 21 ki main hu, I am 21. I have now 5.5 years to live. Do I want to live on this bed, become bedridden, or do I want to travel? Do I want to go out? Do I want to read? Do I want to make love? Do I want to make money? Whatever it is. Or do I want to sit here? Something happened, and I called my friends and my family. I said, I want to get out of this. I don't want to be this. And to my surprise, I had disconnected from everyone. But they were there. I just had to extend my hand. And that day, I realized one thing. Nobody can help you if you're not ready. Nobody can give you if you don't have receiving hand. You need to have that. You keep your hand open, things will come. You keep it shut, nothing will come. And they helped me. And I traveled. I have understood one thing, and as a professional, when I work with people also, I see that when you have a difficult situation or a challenge or an issue, I don't call it a disability, I just say issue and challenge. When you have that, either you become religious, or you become spiritual, or you become bitter. And most of the people I see, they become bitter. But I somehow thought, okay, let me become spiritual. And I started traveling. Name the ashram, I have been there. But what really worked for me was yoga and breathing. I'm a big Osho fan. I know not everybody likes him. But what he said in one of the things, he said, this is body, this is soul. This body and soul is connected by a bridge. And that bridge is breath. How about you work on your breath? And I wrote an article called, Only Thing with You from Your Birth to Death is Your Own Breath. It changes with everything. And I started working on that. After that, I met this gentleman. He was my partner. And he didn't see me my illness. He just saw a person who has something. And he told me, he's a very innocent kind of a soul. And he just told me, Aruba, some people have BP, some have sugar, some have something. You have CF. What's the big deal? And it changed everything. That is how I started looking at myself. And I started exploring. And I was like, acha, theek hai. Now I feel little better. And to keep this growth, I need to do something. And I took the, trainings in psychology, assisted people, did a lot of charity work. I didn't have any plans because you remember, 27 mein mujhe marna hai, right? So no investments, no future plans, no bucket list. Live in the moment. Every time I'll get hospitalized, I'll hold his hand tight, nice and tight. This is a goodbye. I come back. Every time doctors see my reports, I come back. It's like all confusion now. And I didn't die at 27. Do you understand how upsetting was that? You might think that, it's a relief. It is not. Because your friends saw you like that. Your people saw you like that. You have a social media image. You write a blog. Everything is about, I'm going to die. And you don't die. It's a confusion. अब मैं करूँ क्या? Career मेरे पास है नहीं. कुछ चीजें हैं नहीं मेरे पास. What do I do? And then, on top of that, it was at the age of 26, I conceived. And I am told, if you have the child, either they get CF, they might not survive, or they get delayed development because you don't have enough oxygen in your body. If you are ready with that, we will help you. Society conditions us that ultimately a woman has to become a mother. And if you don't become mother, you're not complete. I would have still taken the chance. Theek hai, delay development, CF, fine. That greed. I'll want to have a child. I want to become that complete woman. But then I thought, I can't walk. I can't carry a child. The child will see me with IVs and treatments and stuff. Is that what I want to give to somebody? And I took a step back. I said no. And I let go of the child. And I thought I will never become mother. But these two changed that. I have not given them birth from here. I have given them birth from here. They helped me stay this person who I am. The days when I don't want to wake up, they don't go away from there. They keep wagging their tail, or come on, get up, let's go out. And that is my children. I am this. Every year, twice or thrice, for 10 days, 15 days, 20 days. I last month had my IV treatment. But I am this too. It's not... I gave some pictures to Hetal. She wanted to run some pictures. I gave her mixed pictures, and I gave her instructions साथ में that if you play them together, because I don't want people to see my disability, my illness, because I am not, trust me. I might be having difficulty talking for long, but if I take a deep breath, I can talk longer. I don't take my life as a limitation. Every day I have to spend 2 hours for my treatment. I don't take it as a limitation. I take it as an opportunity for 22 hours. 2 hours I invest in myself. 22 hours I can sleep well, eat well, do all the things I want to do, and help the countless people I'm able to. So 3 things I want to tell you. 1, accept begins with you. You don't accept yourself, nobody can accept you. Even if they do, it feels like a pity. So if you want others to accept you, accept your flaws, accept your weakness, illness, your sadness, and accept the courage, the strength you have. You know, we see these big, beautiful trees in our cities, and we're like, oh, wow, it's such a beautiful tree. But have you ever noticed how teda meda, imperfect they are? And yet we find them beautiful, and that is how human beings are. We can't be perfect. We can't be doing everything right. We can't not do mistakes. We will do them. And that is the beauty of it. Second thing, ask for help. Man is called a social animal for a reason. We are born out of a womb and not out of a cell. That tells us how important it is to be in a community, tribe. Find your tribe, but ask for help. You can't do it alone. Third thing, we all take actions, but actions are out of responsibility or out of helplessness. It is up to you how you want to take your action. I have taken my action with responsibility, and I would lie to you if it doesn't still come to me, if not me, why me? And I
Great innings. That's awesome. Thank you. Ableaura is filled with enablers. We know this, right? அடுத்து நம்ம மீட் பண்ண போறது the business development enabler from Ableaura who wait for it who wants to change the way the world thinks, because he's also a social influencer and a stand-up comedian. Now, how does he want to change the way the world thinks? What does he want to do? Well, what he wants to do is shift. It's just a shift, guys. That's all that's needed. Shift the judgments and assumptions about persons with visual impairments for the others to treat as curious questions. He wants to create curiosity in people. He wants to make them ask questions and understand this more rather than be prejudiced already. And he does this through his Insta and YouTube channels. I'm sharing the handle, so please make a note of it and follow him. The handle is Meet for Thought. Meet for Thought is his handle, and this is where he posts content, and he will succeed in his shift of perception among people. Let's welcome the enabler who enables those who need enabling, along with his chief enabler. The chief enabler is Ovia, and our stand-up comedian for the day is Aziz Rahman. Podium or hand mic? Oh, you have that already. Stage is all yours.
Right direction? Direction is good?
Direction is perfect.
Okay, good. So, thank you so much for the wonderful noises, because all the stand-up comedians need a sound. Yes. So, thank you. First, ஒரு well-wisher he called me 1 month before and he told, Aziz, you have to do a stand-up comedy, okay? Ready with the script. Then, 1 week before he called me, script ready apa? Sir, the script is getting ready, sir. நேத்து கால் பண்ணி ஸ்கிரிப்ட் ரெடியாப்பா சார், ஸ்கிரிப்ட் இஸ் ரெடி சார். இன்னைக்கு காலையில் தம்பி டுடே ஃபங்க்ஷன்ப்பா, இன்னைக்காவது அந்த ஸ்கிரிப்ட் ரெடியா? சார், ஸ்கிரிப்ட் இஸ் கெட்டிங் ரெடி சார். ஸோ திஸ் ஸ்கிரிப்ட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி த ஸ்கிரிப்ட் ஈவன் அவரே கேட்காத அந்த ஸ்கிரிப்டை தான் இப்போ நம்ம பார்க்க போகிறோம். லெட்ஸ் கோ. Yes. Okay, so the vibe is set. ஸோ வந்து ஒரு விஷுவல் இம்பேர்டை பற்றி நீங்கள் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணுன்னா ஒரு ரேப்பிடோ, ஊபர், ஓலா இது 3 புக் பண்ணுற ஒரு விஷுவல் இம்பேர்ட் பக்கத்தில் போய் உட்காருங்க. 30 செகண்ட்ஸில் நீங்கள் அவங்கள பற்றி தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். லெட் மீ ஷோ யூ. ஹலோ அண்ணா, ரேப்பிடாவா? ஆனால் அந்த பிளாக் கலர் டிஷர்ட்டு வித் கிரே கலர் கோட்டு வித் சம் கலர் பேண்ட் ஒன்று போட்டிருக்கிறேன், ஷூ ஒன்று வேர் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். பக்கத்தில் ஒருத்தர் வந்து மண்டே செஞ்சுட்டு என்னையே குறுக்குறுன்னு பார்த்துட்டு இருக்காரு. ஆமாண்ணா, நீங்கள் வந்துடுங்க. இங்கே வந்துடுங்க. நான் சொல்லி முடிச்சுட்டு வச்சு 10 செகண்டில் அவர் கால் பண்ணுவார். சார் உங்கள் ஆப்போசிட்டில் தான் சார் நிற்கிறேன், கிரே கலர் ஹெல்மெட்டு, ஒயிட் கலர் ஷர்ட் போட்டிருக்கிறேன், வண்டி நம்பர் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா TN068423, கிராஸ் பண்ணி வந்துருங்க சார் ரோட. ஐயோ, நம்ம கிராஸ் பண்ண முடியாதே ரோட. How can I cross the road? Sir, the thing is, I cannot cross the road, but கொஞ்சம் நீங்கள் சப்போர்ட் பண்ணி இங்கே வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு என்னன்னு புரியும். இல்லை நான் கலர்லாம் சொல்கிறீங்களே, என்ன விஷயம், நீங்கள் கிராஸ் பண்ணி வந்தீங்கன்னா கொஞ்சம் ஈஸியாக இருக்குமே. நோ சார், ஐ cannot come சார். Then he will see after 10 seconds, right cancelled. ஸோ இந்த ஃப்ளாஷ்பேக்கில் என்ன ஆச்சுன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, while I am booking the ride, there will be the 3 minutes waiting time will be there, right? So அந்த டைமில் I'll call the chief enabler that they introduced. I call her, hey, tell me what color shirt I'm wearing, tell. நான் அந்த டைமில் கேட்கும்போது அவள் படித்த கலர் சயின்ஸ் எல்லாம் கொண்டு வருவா. இட்ஸ் லைக் எ கிரேயிஷ் எல்லோ கைண்ட் ஆஃப் அ பீல் கலர் வித் அ பேல் டிஞ்ச் ஆஃப் ப்ளூ. என்ன கலர் யா? ஓகே, க்ரீன் ஃபைனல்னோ? க்ரீன், ஓகே க்ரீன். இவ்வளோ பேசிட்டு கடைசியில் அவருக்கு இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணால் அவரால் வர முடியாது, ரைடு கேன்சல் ஆயிரும். சரி, ஓகே, ரைடு தான் கேன்சல் ஆகுது, வேற ஏதாவது பண்ணுவோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நிறைய பேர் என்கிட்ட சொன்னாங்க, இங்கேயே கஷ்டப்படுற, யூ கோ டு துபாய், ஹபீபி கம் டு துபாய், அங்கே வெரி அக்சசபிளாக இருக்கும், யூ கோ தேர், வேற லெவலாக இருக்கும் ஃபன் அப்படின்னாங்க. சரி, ஓகே, ஒரு 1 வீக் போய் பார்க்கலாம் துபாயில் என்ன நடக்குது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஸோ ஐ ட்ரை டு லேண்ட் இன் துபாய். துபாயில் போனேன், ஏர்போர்ட்டில் இறங்கினேன். two big people, okay, larger than me, taller than me, stronger than me, just grabbed my arms. Hello, why are you here? Sir, I just read to visit Expo. Oh, you want to see the Expo? Okay. How will you see Expo? You're blind, no? Sir, in your website it's said accessible Expo, inclusive Expo. Oh, okay. Who told you? Sir, the website it's written that. Okay. We need to test your eyesight. So just sit here. Then அவர் வந்து விசாவையும் பாஸ்போர்ட்டையும் பிடிக்கிட்டு போயிட்டாங்க. விசாவும் பாஸ்போர்ட்டும் இல்லைன்னா அந்த ஊரில் என்ன ஆகும்னு உங்களுக்கு நல்லாவே தெரியும். ஸோ ரெண்டுமே கையில் இல்லை. ½ an hour அமைதியாக உட்காந்துருக்க, ஒன்றுமே நடக்கல. ஆஃப்டர் சம் பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் டைம் 1 person இஸ் கம்மிங். அவரும் அதே மாதிரி டாலர் தேன் மீ, ஸ்ட்ராங்கர் தேன் மீ. ஓகே, பிடிச்சிட்டு கூட்டு போய் உட்கார வச்சாரு. ஆப்போசிட்டில் உட்காந்தாரு. ஓகே, டெல் மீ அபவுட் யுவர் செல்ஃப். என்ன இன்டர்வியூ எதுவும் பண்ண போகிறாங்களா? டெஸ்ட்டுன்னாங்களே, மிஷின் எதையும் காண வேண்டாம். நான் என்னை பற்றி தான் சொன்னேன். கடைசியில் வந்து அவர் ஒரு ரிப்போர்ட் மாதிரி எழுதி கொடுத்து அனுப்பி விட்டார். ஐ கேம், எனக்கு செம்ம ஹாப்பி. துபாய்க்குள்ளே வந்துட்டோம், என்ன அக்சசபிள் இருக்குன்னு பார்த்துருவோம், வேற லெவல். ஐ வென்ட் டு த துபாய் மெட்ரோ. உள்ளே போனோடனே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அங்கே ஒரு ஆடியோ, இந்த மெட்ரோ ஸ்டேஷனில் ஆடியோ அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட். அல் முகத்து காதி மாஃபியா, நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டேஷன் அல் புர்ஜுமேன். ஓ, ஆடியோ அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட்லாம் இருக்கே, செம்ம, வேற லெவல். ஜஸ்ட் உள்ளே போய் உட்காந்துட்டேன். பக்கத்தில் பார்த்தா ஒரு டிசபிலிட்டி சீட்டு, அதில் ஒருத்தர் உட்காந்துருக்காரு. இன்னைக்கு சண்டை போட்டு இந்த சீட்டை வாங்குறோம். சார் ப்ளீஸ் வேக்கப். பதிலே வரல. சார் கேன் யூ ஹிந்தியில் ட்ரை பண்ண, உட்டோ பையா, கேட்கல. தமிழில் சொல்லி பார்த்தா கொஞ்சம் எழுந்திருக்கிறீங்களா, அப்பவும் புரியல. Then I came to know he cannot speak. So எனக்கு அங்கே என்ன ஒரு சந்தோஷம்னா, பர்சன் வித் டிசபிலிட்டி சீட்டில் ஓகே, இன்னொரு பர்சன் வித் டிசபிலிட்டி தான் உட்காந்துருக்காரு, அது வரைக்கும் சந்தோஷம் இல்லையா? ஸோ நான் அவரை எழுப்பலை, நமக்கு காலில் கரெக்டாக தானே இருக்கு, ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை, நம்ம நின்றுட்டே போயிடலாம். ஓகே, தென் ஐ கேம் ஹியர், ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை. சரி, நம்ம இப்படியே உட்காந்துட்டு பேசிக்கிட்டே இருந்தால் சரியாக வராது, ஸ்போர்ட்ஸில் ஜாயின் பண்ணுவோன்னு சொல்லிட்டு இந்த பிளைண்ட் கிரிக்கெட் ஃபேண்டசி ரொம்ப அதிகமாக போயிட்டு இருந்துச்சு. சரி, இதில் ஜாயின் பண்ணிடலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஐ வென்ட் டு த பிளைண்ட் கிரிக்கெட். சரி, பிளைண்ட் கிரிக்கெட்டில் என்ன நடக்குது அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, ப்ரொஃபஷனல் பிளைண்ட் கிரிக்கெட்டில் வந்து ரூல்ஸ் அண்ட் ரெகுலேஷன் கரெக்டாக இருக்கும். நம்ம போனது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கல்லி கிரிக்கெட், அதாவது நம்ம ஸ்ட்ரீட்டில் விளையாடுவாங்கல்ல, கிட்டத்தட்ட அந்த மாதிரி. என்ன பண்ணுறானுங்க, B2, B3, B1, அதாவது கண்ணு நல்லா தெரிஞ்சவங்க ஒரு கேட்டகரி, கண்ணு கொஞ்சம் மீடியமாக தெரிஞ்சவங்க ஒரு கேட்டகரி, சுத்தமாக தெரியாதவங்க இப்போ என்ன மாதிரி இருக்கவங்க ஒரு கேட்டகரி. கண்ணே சுத்தமாக தெரியாதவங்களுக்கு கண்ணை கட்டிடுறாங்க, கொஞ்சம் மீடியமாக தெரிஞ்சவங்களுக்கு, நல்லா தெரிஞ்சவங்களுக்கு கண்ணை திறந்து வச்சிடுறாங்க. என்ன லாஜிக்னே எனக்கு புரியல. சரி ஓகேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு பாலை எடுத்து அடிச்சா நேராக வந்து ஃபோர் ஹெட்ல அடிக்குது டங்குன்னு. அங்கேருந்து ஒருத்தன் 4 அப்படின்னு கத்துறான். அடிச்சது என்னோட 4 ஹெட்லடா, 4 இல்லடா அது. இது நமக்கு சரியா வராது. நம்மளே இந்த மூஞ்சி. என்னோட ப்ரீவியஸ் கம்பெனியில் என்னடா டக்குன்னு கம்பெனிக்கு போயிட்டானேன்னு பார்க்காதீங்க. இது கம்பெனி ஜோக் ஒன்று, கார்பரேட் ஜோக் ஒன்று போட்டு ஆகணும் இல்லையா? ஸோ என்னோட ப்ரீவியஸ் கம்பெனியில் ஒரு கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு. சின்ன ஹால். என்னுடைய அப்போ ப்ரீவியஸ் எம்டி இருக்காரு. ஒரு 6-7 பேர் உட்காந்துருக்கோம். நான் லேட்டாக வந்துட்டேன். ஸோ மாற்றி மாற்றி எல்லாரும் பேசிகிட்டு இருக்காங்க. அவர் வந்து சொல்கிறாரு, ஓகே யூ 4 people யூ ஹேவ் டு டேக் த டாஸ்க். ஓகே 4 people. அவர் வந்து திருப்பி 4 people சொல்லிட்டு அதோட டாஸ்க்லாம் பயங்கர இன்டென்ஸாக இருக்குது. இந்த டாஸ்க்கை பண்ணுறதுக்கு 4 people தேவைப்படாது, 400 people வேணும். அந்த மாதிரியான டாஸ்க்காக இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். 4 people போது எனக்கு என்ன டவுட்னா, அந்த 4 people நம்ம இருக்கமா இல்லையா? யார் அந்த 4 people? கேட்டா திட்டுவாரா, கேட்காம இருந்தா ஏன் கேட்கலன்னு கேட்பாரா? அது ஒரு பயம். பிகாஸ் இஸ் ஜஸ்ட் ஷோயிங் இஸ் ஹேண்ட்ஸ் 4 people. சரி ஓகே இதுக்கு மேல பொறுக்காதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு, மச்சான் அந்த 4 people யாரான்னு தட்டி பார்த்தா அவர் தான் எம்டி. கேட்ட தண்டத்துக்கு அந்த 4 people செய்ய வேண்டிய மொத்த டாஸ்கையும் என் பேர்ல எழுதிட்டாரு. ஸோ இந்த இன்க்ளூசிவிட்டிங்கிற மைண்ட் செட் எங்க இருந்து வரணும் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, ஒரு விஷயத்த சொல்லும் போது அது யார் யாரு எங்கெங்க அப்படிங்கிறத கிளியரா பேர் மென்ஷன் பண்ணி சொல்லியிருந்தா எனக்கு இந்த 4 people பண்ண வேண்டிய டாஸ்க் வந்திருக்காது இல்லையா? ஓகே தட்ஸ் ஓகே. ஸோ காமெடி என் பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் இது காமெடியான்னு தெரியல, பட் என் பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி I am a fan of A.R. Rahman. A.R. Rahman fans make some noise please. ஸோ அவர்கிட்ட இருந்து நான் கற்றுக்கிட்ட ஒரு விஷயத்த உங்களுக்கு நான் ஷேர் பண்ணிட்டு நான் முடிச்சிடுறேன். தம்பி காமெடி தானே பண்ண வந்திருக்கேன், கருத்துலாம் சொல்றியா அப்படின்னு கேட்கக்கூடாது. ஓகே ஸோ யூ நோ திஸ் சாங். நியூயார்க் நகரம் உறங்கும் நேரம் தனிமை அடர்ந்தது, பனியும் படர்ந்தது, கப்பல் இறங்கியே காற்றும் கரையில் நடந்தது. சாரி வாய்ஸில் கொஞ்சம் காற்று மிக்ஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு. இட்ஸ் ஓகே. ஸோ இந்த சாங் வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அந்த பாட்டு வரும்போது லிரிசிஸ்ட் அந்த லிரிக்ஸ் பேப்பர் வந்து அவர்கிட்ட ஃபுல்லாக இல்லையா. ஜஸ்ட் இந்த படிச்சுப்பாங்க, நியூயார்க் நகரம் உறங்கும் நேரம். ஓகே என்ன 4 லைன் தான் இருக்கு, அடுத்த லைனை காணாமே. ஓகே சரி இதை வச்சே எப்படி சமாளிக்கிறதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஸ்டார்டிங்கில் கொஞ்சம் மியூசிக் போதும் நெக்ஸ்ட் போயிடலான்னு சொல்லிட்டு, நியூயார்க் நகரம் உறங்கும் நேரம் தனிமை அடர்ந்தது ஃபுல்லாக பாடி முடிச்சாச்சு. காற்றும் தரையில் நடந்தது. அடுத்து என்னையா பாடுறது, லிரிக்ஸை காணாமே. சரி திருப்பி இதே பாடுவோம், நியூயார்க் நகரம் உறங்கும். இப்படியே பாடிக்கிட்டு இருந்தோடனே கோரஸ் பீப்புளுக்கு பொறுக்கல. அவங்க அங்கேருந்து பின்னால இருந்து இதுக்கு மேலே விட்டா இவர் இதே தான் பாடிட்டு இருப்பாரு. ஓ அப்படின்னு நாங்கள் பின்னால இருந்து அவர் பாடிட்டு கோரஸ் பீப்புள் பாடணும், அவர் குறுக்க பாடினா அவருக்கு கொஞ்சம் கோவம் வந்துடும். நான் பாடிக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன், குறுக்க நீங்க என்னடானா எக்ஸ்ட்ரா பாருங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு கோவத்தில் யாரா அது அப்படின்னு எந்திரிச்சு பார்த்தா அந்த லிரிக்ஸ் பேப்பர் மேலே தான் அவர் உட்கார்ந்துருக்காரு. அந்த லிரிக்ஸ் பேப்பர் எடுத்து கையில் வச்சு பாடினது தான் இந்த லைன். நாட்குறிப்பில் 100 தடவை உந்தன் பெயரை எழுதுமென் பேனா, எழுதியதும் எறும்பு மொய்க்க பெயரும் மானதென்ன தேனா. அங்கிருந்து கோரஸ் சாங் இஸ் செட், பாட்டு செட் ஆயிடுச்சு. ஸோ இதுல இருந்து நான் என்ன கத்துக்கிட்டேன், மாரல் ஆஃப் த ஸ்டோரினா, ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்குன்னா அந்த ப்ராப்ளம் சொல்யூஷன் மேலேயே தான் நம்ம உட்காந்துருப்போம். நம்ம எந்திரிச்சு கொஞ்சம் அப்படி கீழே பார்த்தாலே அந்த சொல்யூஷன் அங்கே தான் இருக்கும். ஸோ சொல்ல முடியாது, நம்ம இந்த ஃபங்க்ஷன் முடிஞ்சோடனே திருப்பி அந்த வெல்விசர் கால் பண்ணி அசீஸ் அந்த ஸ்கிரிப்ட் ரெடியான்னு கேட்கறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு. ஸோ இப்போ நம்ம ஒரு கேம் விளாட்லாம். இப்போ நான் தான் அந்த வெல்விஷர், நீங்கள் தான் அசீஸ். நான் உங்கள்கிட்ட கேட்குறேன், ஓகே அசீஸ் யூ நோ லைக் the script is ready? Yeah, script is ready. Ready? Script is ready? Getting ready? Yes, the script is getting ready. Thank you so much. Thank you.
கூப்பிட்டீங்களா அசீஸ்?
In the sense?
போங்க அப்படின்னாங்க ஓவியா. கூப்பிட்டீங்களான்னு கேட்டேன். Awesome! One more round. Awesome! If people can whistle, yes! Azish, thank you so much. I am here, Bala's there, and this was amazing. இன்னொரு புது டேலண்ட் உங்களுக்குள்ள இருந்து, இன்னும் ஒரு புது டேலண்ட் உங்களுக்குள்ள இருந்து, ஸ்டாண்ட் அப் காமெடி, பாட்டு கலக்கறேல் போங்க.
Thank you. அண்ணா பாடினேனா இல்லையா?
பிரமாதமா பாடினேள், பேஷா பாடினேள். சபாஷ் அசீஸ்.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to come to our next speaker. Our next speaker, before I call them on stage, I am going to call on somebody whom I love very, very much. And we keep making all these love you signs and all of that on off stage. She is an inspiration from every which angle, right from her bubbly personality to her wonderful foundation that focuses on development, on opportunity, not just that, on resources, and more that what happens, there needs to be insight that comes from all of this for this to grow and influence more and more people and change the world. And she's been on this journey every step of the way with us. Please come on to stage, my dear Dr. Sumitra Prasad of the Ray Foundation. We're full of surprises, aren't we? Thank you so much. It deserves to be said. The Ray Foundation deserves to be said over and over and over again. This is a day filled with sportspersons because our next speaker is the recipient of the Best Sportsperson with Disability Award at the national level in 2020 from the President of India. He has been featured in the 300 most influential people in Asia. He's won multiple awards and he holds the record for the longest open sea swimming by a paraplegic person. Let's welcome Shamzala Alam. We love sports. Here with us, Shams. Can I request Dr. Prasad to present mementos of our love and Bala, the certificate of being a part of the Ableaura family?
पटना में शायद हम मिले थे. पटना में मिले थे. बिल्कुल.
And together, a painting from the Ray Foundation by a person with disability. Thank you. As Tirusatish had said, access is primary. Access in a physical sense. Access in spaces. Me? Is it me? You're good? Is he good? Ah, okay. Access in spaces. Access is primary to achievement. And Shams, who's been places, who's been to so many places, is going to talk about access not just in the physical sense, but also in the direction the world is now moving in, where if there is no access, then it is